That's unfair, okay? That's unfair because I was listening to the noise of that ticking clock and it paused, and I was like, I'm gonna get this tweet out before the timer goes, and the pause really screwed me. So that's not fair. That I'm prepared this week, I swear. We're doing it again. Oh, hello for the first time, Dynasty Grind audience. How you doing? Let me get that smoke out your face. I apologize for that. I was actually kind of prepared today, and then Zach got me to talking, and now I'm behind. Welcome back to the Dynasty Grind. My name is Peter Howd at PA Howdy on Twitter, senior writer for DLF Dynasty League Football. We talk about Dynasty for about 3 hours, or as long as we can take it, every Wednesday at 9:30, answering any and all Dynasty questions you may have. Please drop them in the comment box, whether the streaming platform you're watching us on. This is almost getting to be an actual introduction. I almost know what to say at this point. So what was I going to point out? The year is 2022. It's week 14 coming up. We've had 13 weeks. We've got about four fantasy games left. So I'm going to make some declarations now about how players are going to finish that I feel pretty confident about right now. CeeDee Lamb is a top 12 wide receiver. He's going to finish as a top 12 wide receiver. Rashad Bateman, now that he's injured, is going to finish inside the top 62 in points per game, and it's even worse if you look at his overall points scored. Gabe Davis, right now, currently still ranks inside the top 36. I told you! This is the I told you so stream. I deserve this. I got everything one of those right. I told you! Nah, I'm kidding. This is a Dynasty Grind. It's not an I told you so kind of a place. I did say all those things, but none of them really describe what I was hoping for or what I expected. Gabe Davis has been an individual week winner for anyone that rostered him at least 3 separate times. Like literally just having Gabe Davis won you that week 3 separate times. Top 36 really doesn't describe what he's done this season. And it would be unfair to say that you were wrong to like him this offseason, right? The internet rewards false confidence pretty much in everything, and especially in fantasy football. The people that make the money, people that get the jobs, the people we all listen to and really enjoy their content have to have confidence, or it's really hard to listen to them or think you're going to improve your team. But for you playing in a league, false confidence is only going to make you more wrong more often and make you more confused about why your team's not improving year over year. So if I'm going to sit here and say, I got those 3 right, I knew exactly what was going to happen, it ignores the fact that by week 3, I was feeling really good about CeeDee Lamb. By week 6, I was really worried. By week 9, I was just done. I thought I'd gotten it wrong. And now by week 14, I've got it right. No, I didn't. Similar pattern with Gabe Davis. Rashad Bateman had 2 great games where he was really too efficient and then regressed and then got injured. Do we really know what he was going to do this year? Not really. But my definitions are accurate, and we can be fairly confident that players are going to hit those definitions. Arguing about what defines or what definition we should use at this point, I think, is missing the point. We have definitions we can track and can predict at an above average rate, better than ADP, better than the market. The trick relies on finding those players that the description of top 12, top 36, top 24, or whatever else actually matters. And it's not a 100-yard game. Sorry, Andrew A., I already read ahead and saw your comments. And it's not how much tea they have or anything else. But there is nuance. There is a way to win. And several people got one over me on each one of those players, because despite the fact the definition proved right, again, there's still more to it. And I think I got all 3 of those wrong while getting them right. That's what stream this is. I've got friends who don't let me forget when I'm wrong and regularly kick my ass in Dynasty to talk with me every week to remind myself that I'm not great and I don't know everything, and I definitely don't deserve confidence, let alone fake confidence. So let's do that. Let's go talk to Zach Reed from the Dynasty Dummies podcast and Russ Fisher from the Dynasty Trade Addicts podcast to tell me what else I got wrong. I hope that was fun. I thought that'd be a fun introduction. I thought maybe I'll play it up a little bit this week. No? All right. How you doing, guys?
I think the thing you got the most wrong was saying that you need confidence to do anything in this game. Because if that were true,
someone's not
I'd be screwed.
I said you need to have confidence to make people like, enjoy, or believe your content is useful.
Or retweet trade polls.
Hey, man, I'm not going to say it directly. I'm just saying you do. No one wants to hear maybe. I know, because I've been saying maybe on everything for a while, and no one likes it. But it's the most obvious and honest answer to most questions. But, I mean, it's hard to know what to do with that. Should I draft CD Lamb right now? Maybe. Okay, I'll go talk to someone who has an opinion. How about that? Even if you're right more often, I think the confidence helps. Because it's like we were talking about in the Crossroads. Ultimately, even what I'm doing when I'm asking questions is, hey, here's my team. Tell me what to do. Don't talk around. Just give me very simple instructions on what to do next. And the real answer is there's no one thing. There's no one answer. But that's not good. You want to go to a podcast or an article that says, do this thing. And then you want to go try and do that thing.
I think you saw from our conversation on your show that that's never really an answer.
No, I thought from our conversation on my show was you won't give me your secrets.
The secret ingredient to the secret ingredient soup,
clutching them to your chest. Like, I won't tell you. I am not going to tell you the answer. That's what I learned. And yeah, Andrew, this is the point. Again, I think if you're looking at CD Lamb's performance this year and thinking, see, I was right, because you're doubling down on an off-season take, step back a bit. Were you not wrong as well? Like, if you didn't like him this off-season, you can't, because you're ultimately say sell high. You can't sell high, man. You don't roster him because you didn't think he could get into this category. Now, don't get me wrong. Maybe you do anyway, and maybe I'm wrong on what you thought about CD Lamb. But instead of being right or wrong on Twitter or on YouTube or anywhere else, if you had gone in on CD Lamb, you would have an opportunity to sell high because he was more likely to fit the definition, which he does right now, of top 12. And then you would have someone that you think is slightly overrated to sell high on. Now, CD Lamb's actually a bad example because his ADP actually rose pretty significantly in the offseason. But Bateman and Gabe Davis offer counterpoints to that. Gabe Davis's ADP rose a lot in redraft, not in Dynasty. Bateman's ADP rose significantly in Dynasty, and I'm not sure why he didn't redraft. But if you went in on them, now you have a player who you can't sell high on, even if you're low on. So it's not getting it right or wrong. It's trying to track an accurate definition, and then you can make sell high or buy low, being in the right position to do those moves. Because all that really matters isn't if I'm right on a stream or wrong on a stream. It's if I get to do something that improves my team. Because I don't care about being, I don't know, can you get famous from fantasy football? I just want to win more leagues. So I need to have CD Lamb right now so I can sell high. And if I was just out of him this offseason, I was wrong, and now I can't sell high. I hope that's somewhat more helpful than just arguing with you about whether he's good or not. I think that's interesting. I talked about this a lot with you, Zach. It's how do I roster more bad players? Bad meaning players I don't think have quite the ceiling others do.
It's micro markets.
Because I never have them. Yes.
Yeah.
So you can't trade them.
Exploiting the market and exploiting when everybody runs. It's the scene in Hook where Rufio and Peter Pan are opposite.
Sorry, wrong scene.
And the Lost Boys are going back and forth. Dynasty fantasy football is a lot like that. Gabe Davis was all the thing preseason, and everybody ran over there, and then everybody ran back, and then everybody ran over again when he had a good game. It's playing those micro markets and figuring out where you can exploit that, where you can make trades, and where you can, like you said, improve your team.
Yeah, it's not getting it right or wrong. It's just your team being in the right place more often than it could have been, so that you can make more moves to improve it. Because winning is a 1 in 12 proposition. It's difficult unless you want to assume all your league mates are all idiots. It's difficult, man. Even if they are, they could make like
There's too
because
much
it's such
luck
a high
involved
variance
for it to
sport.
be
Everyone could
really
have made
based on
every
skill.
mistake in the book and be better than you this year, or any year for that matter. It's such a high variance sport. But anyway, I'm getting far past it. How you doing, Russ? I haven't talked to you yet. You just keep not jumping in. So you're done talking with me. That whole hour for the crossroads was too much. Fine, I'll move on.
We even read a
10
question
team
yet?
Superflex PPR. Grade my trades. Took advantage of injuries to teams competing at trade deadline. That's a good thing to do. I don't think of it as taking advantage, but I'm not going to take issue with it. Traded James Cook and a 23-201 for Breece Hall.
Yes.
Win. James Cook has seen an increase in target share over the last 3 games. Had a great game last week, if my spreadsheet isn't lying to me. 16 points or so.
It is not,
and could actually help him out. But yeah, you took a significant win in terms of improving your team, and hopefully that helps him out a little bit.
I was listening to the DLF flagship pod, and the 3 of them were like, yeah, James Cook looked great. He looked fast and quick and had great moves and was catching the ball. You could tell the difference on their first few steps between Cook and Singletary. And this isn't, all of a sudden, game in, game out. It's been going up for the past few games. And in 3 or 4 games, when James Cook has that role, that entire workhorse role with the receptions, you sell and you sell fast.
Yeah.
It was a great build-up. It was just like, yeah. Oh, okay.
He also had 3 red zone touches, 2 inside the 20, 1 inside the 10, if I remember right, and didn't get a touchdown on him. So right now he looks like he could get, if the usage keeps up, he should score some touchdown regression.
But also the famous Zach Reed line, who's the running back 1 on the Bills.
He wears 17.
He wears number 17. Yeah.
So
really,
I think we're grading this as like an A. This is like an A.
This is like the highest grade you can get. Like, this is 2 seconds for Breece Hall.
Yeah.
Like, that's
second trade. Sorry, Karen.
No.
Now you want to talk. Now you're talking.
My favorite part about this whole open is Russ had an entire he made a kung fu panda joke and then had an entire talk about how there's so much variance, and Peter just kept talking right over him, and now he's accused. It's awesome. It makes me laugh.
It's
kind of destroying.
I come here every week. Peter says that we're the ones that are mean to him, but really.
But the second trade, Peter's going to hate it, but I think it's Peter's going to be torn.
No,
the second
it's
one.
Good value.
But I like the Waddle side.
To lose Hollywood, but that's good value.
D, I like it.
Hollywood plus a 24 first, Mike White and Waddle wins. No, it's just Waddle.
Yep,
that's not that torn. I mean, I'm torn in the sense I'd like rostering Hollywood, but no, this is a win. Especially since you're not winning and they are. I get it. Yeah. I give it a B because you traded away Hollywood, but it probably doesn't.
I thought it was going to be Mike White.
Any other player would have been an A, but just
someone else asked me about Mike White this week, and as long as he's less likely to start in 2023, he offers streamable QB upside, and he's fun. I get it. And I'm like, if you're going to trade away hopes and dreams. Someone asked Cade Otton for Mike White when they need a quarterback in a super flex and they're competitive. I'm like, hopes and dreams for lower startable quarterback. You know what you're doing, and you know what you're giving up. It's fine. Open 24 hours. 12 teams start 12 PPR. 1.5 turn in premium super flex. A lot of information there. This will drastically improve my chances of winning. Should I give Pitts and my late 23 first to get Kelsey? I don't think you should have to add the first. But
that's a lot for Kelsey. That being said, I probably still do it. Maybe try and get a second back, but it's Kelsey. He's the positional advantage and will be for the next 3 years.
Well, we were literally just talking about it, Zach. There are 3 players who offer the most value over expected based on what you drafted them for if you drafted this offseason. and what they're scoring in points per game right now. And that's DeAndre Hopkins, Travis Kelce, and can you remember the other one? There were 3 that were 10 points per game over expected.
Hopkins.
No, that was I mentioned him. Him is Kelce, Hopkins.
Kelce. I don't remember. Jacobs.
Jacobs. And that's what you're getting. It's way too much, but yeah, go win. If it makes you win, okay.
Well, and you got to make this trade with the understanding that you're not going to get that value back for Kelce. Like the value you're getting from Kelce is going to be scoring points to win you a championship this year, and scoring points next year, and probably the year after. But you're not ever going to be able to trade him and get the value back that you're going to get from the points he's going to score.
You're either going to take a loss or you'll be rostering him till he does retire. Now, again, not that this means he's more likely to stay productive or not, because we actually don't know when the cliff comes. But like nothing says he's doing worse than he's ever done. He's like completing everything at a higher percentage than most players or the average player. He's scoring one of his best points per game seasons over the competition as well. So I mean, yeah, it's rough. I think that should be a second rather than a first, or maybe just Pitt straight up for Kelce would have been a fairer offer. So if you're offering this, I would probably just send Pitt straight up for Kelce. But if this is where it's rough. They're gouging you. But
if you're thinking of sending that offer, don't send that offer.
Yeah.
If that was sent to you, counter with getting something back, but I wouldn't be afraid to send those pieces away.
I like that last little in parentheses, so we didn't hear it, but this is from a team that he's competing with. So, like, not only do you add Kelce, make your team better, but you
make them worse.
Yeah. That's kind of fun.
That's an interesting move. That makes me wonder what that person's going to do with Pitts in the first after you give it to them.
Yeah, that's a good.
Go trade for Cooper Kupp, I assume. Or Rashad Bateman. Graphic 13. Evening, gentlemen. No gentleman ran here, but appreciate you. 12 team Superflex PPR. Give Malik Willis, John Michie. Hey, I remember that guy. And a 24-second. Got Trey Lance. Sorry, that's Gave those things. Got Trey Lance. Where the quarterbacks are Mahomes, Herbert. Thanks. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, that's a win.
I mean, I'm not really on the go acquire Lance bandwagon, but at that price, yeah, absolutely.
Yep. I mean, Willis is the same player on a team that didn't trade up in the first round to get him, basically, and Michie and.
We don't know that he's the same. Like that's the thing.
Well, that's what I mean. He's a lower grade. Like he hasn't done as much, and we don't know if he'll get the job.
And I was less impressed with Malik Willis as a thrower than I was with Lance, and I wasn't really impressed with Lance either. But like Willis was. All like the big idea of Willis is, hey, you can design him some runs and he can throw to the outside deep against zones, and that was like where he succeeded. Whereas Lance was fine, but he was playing against lower competition. And
correct in remembering hearing that Lance was actually very good at going through progressions.
I'd have to go back and look at my film notes, but
I feel like I remember hearing that. Because from also what I've heard, Malik Willis is not.
No. But
really good at running though. It's a lower graded same play. And this is almost nothing. Michie in the second.
Yeah, that's a great price.
He also asks, I fell short tanking for Bijan, ended up with a 102. What are you willing to add to get up to the 102? Is this a super flex? Did he mention?
Well, yeah, if Bijan's 102, then it's going to be
whatever you would have been willing to give up to get Jonathan Taylor, like, after last year, like after he had his.
I think you wait because right now it's hypothetical. It is.
I think he should be the 102.
And then, yeah, they're quarterbacks and they're pretty good. But I think when we see landing spots, like when we see what these teams think, when someone trades up to go get one of these quarterbacks, I think it's going to increase the value of the quarterbacks at 2 and 3.
And it might make them
feels like to Bijan.
Although I got to tell you, I've been seeing a lot of like Stroud is
That's what
similar
I
to
mean.
Goff.
It takes.
So
Oh, really?
You're playing. And again, I haven't watched them, so I cannot vouch for this, but that was coming across my timeline by people that do scout.
That you trust.
What I've heard is mostly Travis May.
That's why I
talking
watch
about
my
how
own
good
film.
these quarterbacks are.
Fair.
I don't know. It seems like quarterback hype takes a second to get off the ground in Dynasty versus running back. And so I think a quarterback could be the 101 this year in Superflex still. And so that's, I'm on I'd wait. But if you're getting the quarterback, I don't know I want to move up. Do you? I haven't done my rookie evaluation, but just straight up as process, it's like, someone's going to let the quarterback fall to me at the one. I said no.
Do you?
I said no.
Do you?
Stuck on some kind of loop, and I don't. Okay. Devon, 12-team Superflex. Did we give him an answer? No, it's like a 24 first, probably, and it's just too much.
It's a lot.
Devon,
It's a lot.
Devon's there. How you doing? 12-team Superflex, start 9. Half-point PPR. Failed contender, liquidating for picks before the deadline. Give Daniel Jones, Hollywood, get the 107 this year, an early second in 24, and a 23 third. No.
Don't. So here's my Devin. When you say failed contender liquidating for picks, this is not the time. Like liquidating for picks is like your team is at the beginning. Like we talked about this earlier, but like first 4 or 5 weeks, you assess your team. You go, okay, I'm going for it this year. Great. Or I'm not. If your team is a failed contender now, and it's because you had Cooper Kupp, and it's because you had, whoever it is that got injured, your team is still a contender next year. Don't liquidate 4 picks, and especially like the 107 is fine, but you're giving up a quarterback and Hollywood Brown in a super flex.
Yeah, this is a problem with trying to win, where the time you're a failed contender, the prices to liquidate for this year's draft are too much. This is what I think everyone thinks they can do. I'll just sell for picks when later, and then they learn that all the prices are way too high. And I actually don't hate this. I don't think it's as far off as you seem to do. Like Daniel Jones, I don't have much hope for in the future. Hollywood, I think, is worth a first, but there's already a first in here. And so I don't think it's as far off for me, but you move to 24, get liquidate for picks from 2024. The 2023 price just seems too much for you.
Like if that was a mid 23 second instead of 24, would you feel that different about it, Zach? Or are you just out of the idea of the 107 in a second?
I mean, I don't know. It just seems like this is not the time to be, and if you are liquidating, then go after some, something that gets your team further ahead than seconds, a second, a third, and the 107, which, I mean, yes, the 107 is fine, but you got a Hollywood Brown who you're hoping the 107 becomes Hollywood Brown, and then you just gave up Daniel Jones for a second and a third.
Yeah, I was about to say, see what else you can add to Daniel Jones to just get the 107.
Yeah.
Because chances are you can't get the 107 for Daniel Jones right now, even though I think he's going to start. I think he's going to start in New York
Giants
next year.
love him.
Like, I think he will start in New York next year. They have to sign him because his contract's over, but I think he will sign there, and I think he will start. And whether he is real good in real life doesn't really matter because he's pretty good in fantasy. So, honestly, do you need to do this even if you're rebuilding? No. These guys will be good for a while. But
you can't replace what you're giving away with what you're getting back if you get lucky and hit on all these picks.
That's
so,
not really, not really the goal. Like,
I know,
we like to
but
make the easy comparison of, well, you're getting rid of Hollywood for this pick, and you're hoping it's going to be Hollywood, but it's never really a one for one. It's never usually the one for one correlation.
Right.
Like honestly, if you want to move if you can find Lamar Jackson owner or the Jimmy Garoppolo owner, and like go move Daniel Jones to them so you can get a good price coming back, yeah, sure. But these are two players that can be on your team next year if you're still rebuilding.
Right.
let me ask you this. To go to your point that it's not a 1-for-1, if the 107s is, I was going to say T. Higgins, and that doesn't work because Russ is here. And Michael Pittman, nope, Zach is here. Chris Godwin, someone we all appreciate, someone
Jerry
we know is a
Jeudy.
good wide receiver. No, too low.
CeeDee Lamb.
Hasn't been in the top 12 multiple times.
CeeDee Lamb
If it's
wasn't
Chris
107.
Godwin, if the 107 is Chris Godwin and you do this trade, you win. I think because Chris Godwin, a good wide, like a high level hit, and 23 is a good class. So I mean, it's not like it's.
No, it's not.
I just wanted to point out, Devin, that it's not like you're insane.
No.
Like you can easily get
That's...
something good, but there's too much maybe in it for me. That's what I'm saying.
But like we were talking about before, how before we started recording, how you are really liking Jackson Smith and Jigbo, but you think he's going to fall a little bit because he's more of a slot receiver than everyone thinks he is. So I mean, we're talking Bijan, 2 quarterbacks, Gibbs, and then in those 3 picks is probably going to be Addison, because right now people are saying Addison is their wide receiver 1. So probably 2 wide receivers and either a 3rd running back or another quarterback.
Yeah, like you may see Quentin Johnson up there. You may see Charbonnet up there. You may like the
RB3, wide receiver 2, QB3. I mean, that's not bad to get for those 2 pieces.
That's what I mean. Like, I suspect, having done no rookie evaluation yet, that there's going to be some wide receivers that could make this trade work. But I can't tell you again, like it's throwing a dart and trying to hit a target. It's literally 3 months away, and you have to bullseye. Right. And then this trade works. And that's why I'm a little skeptical. Not like it can definitely work out.
But also,
that's why we're
assuming he's drafting that pick. That's why I try and stick to value, because if it were me, chances are I'm moving those picks for something.
All right.
So value-wise, I think it's decent value. Do you have to do it? No. Should you do it? If you want to. That's kind of
that's the answer. Yes, you can do this trade. We think you could probably work it to get something we'd like a bit more, so maybe try a counter. But this is fine. It's risky but fine. I think that's where we're at. Tim Shady, early, mid, late. What type of 23 first is Garrett Wilson worth? Top 5, he's easy.
He's a top 10 wide receiver already.
102, 103.
I'd probably
maybe 104.
Smith and have you finished watching Smith and Jigbo?
Like, no, I haven't. I have not.
Okay, but like with best guess for what you've seen in Jigbo or Smith and Jigbo or Garrett.
I don't know yet, Russ. I've still got like 6
you were gonna
games.
say yes when I asked if you finished.
Yeah, I've got like 6 games that I need to watch of JSN before I'm really willing to. I've only got like 4 games, and it's tough because his early games he didn't really play as a freshman. There are no 2022 games because he got hurt, and so you're watching 2021.
I'm much more of a heathen who will say shit like this. I looked at him for the 22 class and the 21 class because he was still in the data. And the reason I know the name, that's the only player I knew this offseason for the 23 class, is he stood out 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I think I will like his profile easily and Wilson's profile is messed up by Olave so like that's not a fair comparison. But I think I'm going to like his profile a lot. I think he's easily going to be up there if he's declaring. And so, like, but we'll wait for Zach to say how good he actually is when he's watched all the games. For right now, I think data nerds are going to love him.
But you also have a year of Wilson being really good.
Yeah,
games with Zach Wilson accepted. Like if
not talking Zach Wilson down. I'm saying like profile to profile, nerds are going to look at his profile and be like, "That's a top 3 receiver already."
And he's probably a little bit higher, when I get through evaluating, he will probably have a higher score than Wilson did. But now again, it's not apples to apples because you've seen Wilson do it.
Again, like Wilson's already a top 10 NFL receiver. We're talking maybe about a top 3 rookie receiver. Like, again, I'm not actually trying to compare him to Wilson now.
So
what I'm trying to tell you, Zach, is you've got a handicap. You live in a space full of nerds, and like you can't get us to see sense. So what I'm letting you know is
fair.
no matter what your final evaluation says, nerds are not going to let you. Like, there's not going to be a lot of 110 JSN picks because we're going to have spent 3 months going, he's the best thing ever. I think from what I've heard, he's going to kill the combine. He's going to be fit the measurements too. So even that crowd isn't going to help you out.
And again, assuming he does do the combine, because again, he's got a hamstring injury that he basically said, I'm not coming back to play in the bowl games because my doctors have said I'm not going to be back. You know, there's a whole lot of, there's going to be some build up to this. So
and there's that to answer fella who is going back to school, so we're gonna have one less to love. And
to answer your question, Tim, mid early, like somewhere between 6 and 3 or 4.
Yeah,
to me,
I don't know. My process is slightly different and worse, but I would say there's very few receivers that I wouldn't want to add beyond Olave and Wilson right now, because he's kind of. They're sophomore players to me at this point who've already done what I'm hoping this draft class is going to do. So there's very few picks outside of however many running backs that I want, who I know's value is going to increase exponentially once they do it in their first year, or quarterbacks if it's super flex. So like it's where that line is. If there's 2 Jonathan Taylors in this class, then it's pick 103. If it's a super flex and there's 2 quarterbacks people are going to draft high, then it's 104. And that's how I would gauge it for myself. And that's where I'd put both Olave, Wilson. Watson maybe a little bit less because those touchdowns are a little insane, but he's the other rookie receiver doing it this year. So.
Yeah. No, Watson's further down for me by quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's not to be.
I'm a slave to my filters. I was writing it up for the DLF this week, and it's like, look, it's not like I like Burt's more than Watson, but there's a reason these things turn out to be a higher proportion hit rate group, and it's because context matters. Burt's can keep being on a struggling team. He can keep struggling with injuries. But yeah, I still want Burks more, but I think it's fair that people are more excited about Watson right now, if you know what I mean. But then again, Burks has come on the last 3 games. He could drastically change all of that by the end, and I really hope he does. London's in the same boat, by the way. He's currently outside the top 36. Not that you guys care, and you shouldn't, because it's just an arbitrary line I draw. But it's one I like to keep track of. Randy Wyatt. Hi, kids. Hey, Randy. Thanks for the show. No problem, man. 14 teams who flex, no tight end premium. Sent Pitts, Tony, Jameson, and an early 24 first. It's a little soon to project that, but whatever. 25 second for the 103, 104. Okay. 201. 2 late second, 24 first. This is going to take me a week. And a 24 third. How would I do?
I don't know. Can I get like some graph paper and a graphing calculator? And
we'll be back in about 5 minutes after we've all sketched this out. Let's see. Pitts, 2 firsts is fair. 1, 2. But those are 2 really early firsts, but okay. Tony for the second, Jameson for another first. I think you did pretty well as a rough sketch. Assuming Pitts is worth 3 firsts, but not really, then an early 23 first and a 24 first evens out for me. That's fine. Tony for a second? Yeah, sure. Yeah. But you've also got 2 other seconds in this trade. Jameson for the 104 would be a killer deal. And then you've got a whole plethora of other stuff in here, which I don't care too much about. I think you won. I think you did a good trade.
Yeah, I think you got Pitts value for Pitts, which is tough to do right now. Again, it's a lot to put together, but I still think you walk away looking at your side feeling good about it.
Yeah, I think you do. I mean, you've got, if nothing else, your side are things that aren't going to lose value until you actually make picks, and you can always trade them away. And so I kind of err on that side anyway.
Yeah, a better way to put it is like what Pete just said, it's that you can do better things with the pieces you have now than the pieces you had in the first place.
Yeah. Thank you, Russ. I keep Russ around so he can say the things I say, but better. And there you go.
That's what I get paid for.
That's exactly how much I pay you, too. Zach, have you eaten that elephant yet?
Say what?
Did you manage to eat that elephant yet? I assumed you were one biting at a time while we were talking.
No, I think, I came to the same conclusion you did. That there are more people interested in those picks than there will be in Tony and Jameson Williams. And Pitts, like Russ said, he got Pitts value for Pitts, which at this point this is a tough window to sell Pitts unless you're in a league with Bosch. I even saw Bob Gilchrist drop Pitts down to tight end 2 in his rankings. Yeah, I know. So this is a tough Pitts market. So I don't mind.
Admit it. I traded for Pitts recently. It was hard for me. I traded Cup away, I think. What did I do? No, I traded for Pitts for Najee Harris. That was it, because the team's competing and I'm not.
Yep. That's a win for you, even though it's tough to give up the running back. That's a win.
Yeah. He's ended into that quasi. There's a buy window, but it's still not cheap, which is kind of what I was trying to bank.
But Peter, this is another one of those the micro market and buying play. Like, I don't necessarily want to roster Kyle Pitts to play Kyle Pitts. I'm still not sold on Kyle Pitts as Kyle Pitts, greater than Travis Kelce, greatest tight end prospect in the history. Like, I'm not sold on that because I heard that about Evan Ingram, and I heard that about Noah Fant, and I heard that about Eric Ebron. Kids, if you your mom and dad may tell you stories about Eric Ebron, I'm here to tell you they were true. He got pushed way up. So, like, I like Kyle Pitts, and if I have Kyle Pitts on my roster, that's fine. But invariably, there's somebody who likes him more than I do in my league, and so.
And I will admit, as much as I want to troll John Bosch and Bob Gilchrist, I am Kentucky in the Civil War on Pitts. I am straddling that fence because I think he did more than Evan Ingram in his first year. I think it's probably going to be better as soon as he can catch more than one touchdown. But there is always an Evan Ingram avenue of failure. And so I'm just straddling, like, he could just be this value asset that Zach's talking about. But I think he's done pretty well. He's done better
I'm not
than
saying
most
he
of the
can't be good. I'm saying that
again, yeah. Exactly.
Can I say that just to troll? I will troll Bosch and Gilchrist and be like, no, he's not going to. He is bad. Kyle Pitts is not talented.
This is more
athletic.
The Twitter
you know
thing.
What?
Like that's
he's not very good looking either.
I will tell YouTube and Twitch, to be clear, I am in the exact same place as Bob and as John. Like, I think it's probably true that he's going to do it. But just so you know, if you ever look at my Twitter, like, I say the exact opposite, because it's much more fun to make them upset. But yeah, they're going to do it this year. Apparently there's a tight end in the draft that's going to be the new Kyle Pitts. So that'll be fun. Randy Wyatt.
Notre Dame tight ends.
I really don't know. I really don't know.
It felt like a thing to say at the moment.
I know more about their IDs than their stats at this point. Randy Wyatt, what do you think my chances are this year? Good, Randy. I like you. I'd vote for you. 14-team Superflex PPR, no tight end premium. Start 8. Hurts, Herbert, Jamal Williams. We didn't even get to the one guy that's provided significant points over expected. So he was a value this offseason. That isn't a 7th-year player that we already knew was good and there was no value on. Jamal Williams.
I said,
fucking told you.
Activated.
We told you. Anyway, Jamal Williams, David Montgomery, Chase. He's back, right? Mike Williams, Burks, K. Dotton. Oh, K. Dotton. I traded. Drake London, and not much else on my bench. 14 team, I think it's pretty good with those quarterbacks and those running backs, and the top end of your wide receivers is great. I would say you're easily a contender. Top 4? Yeah, I don't know. I can't see your league, but I'm guessing. I think you've got a pretty good chance of making close to the final.
Is this the same team that
Top
you just traded Pitts and Tony? I'm curious.
I would make a move at tight end. It's the only position where there's sometimes cheap value. Go get Kelsey, for example.
I mean, I know that it's 14 teams, but like, so you're starting Hurts and Herbert, Jamal Williams and David Montgomery, Jamar Chase, Mike Evans, Treylon Burks, and Cade Otton. I mean, like,
yeah, outside of Otton, you're doing okay. Like, you're not like bull of the woods, but
if Khalil Herbert doesn't come back, which he's supposed to in like 2 weeks, I think you'll be fine. Because Jamal Williams is just going to score touchdowns. David Montgomery is going to get the workload with a rushing QB in front of him finally. And your wide receivers are good. Yeah, like if you can just move up from Otton to even like Gerald Everett, just a little something that's more dependable than Cade Otton.
Yeah, I
have to feel like in 14 teams, that's a very good lineup with a better tight end.
Yeah, and week 14, I would say this is a tentative contender, and I would be more interested in value. I don't want to give up points. I want to make a move at tight end, but without seeing your league, I'm going to say maybe try to add value more than try to sell out for points, because I know you got 7 strong starters there in a 14-team league. That seems hot to me.
And then adding Drake London, what he'll probably do next year, is nice.
Yeah. If this is the same team, Randy, that you just made that trade to acquire 2 24 firsts, I would be looking at those 24 firsts as my ammo to go bolster this team if I think I'm a contender.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And seriously, first up, Kelsey, not just because he's old and maybe you get a value, but like, he's the one I can point to that provides you a significant advantage every week that I don't have fear for. Even a running back, there's injury. At wide receiver, they can be very variable through the 3 games that matter in your league, right? Whereas Kelsey, like, if he doesn't hit in one of those games, I'm surprised. Whereas if we go and tell you to trade for Amon-Ra St. Brown and he has a down week in week 15, I'm like, yeah, that's what wide receivers do. So, yeah, this is another reason I like tight end, a little more consistent. But yeah, those are thoughts. I hope they helped. Stickman87, 10-team Superflex start 9. Half-point PPR. He's in second, which means nothing at this point, all right? But I've been streaming running back 2 all season. You can do that. That's why top 24 running backs suck. But anyway, trying to put it away. Just gave a mid-23 first and a 23 second. For Josh, I like it. Yeah,
I'll say this is a move that I've been making the last 3 or 4 weeks. Although I haven't got Jacobs, but similar players.
Yeah,
it's been
again. It's what we were just talking about with Randy, but you're much more certain to be you're not as tentative. So I don't mind throwing it to win in that. Yeah.
If Josh Jacobs didn't have a really rough schedule going forward, he would be probably the most traded for player right now. And that would still be the price, and that would be buying championships. But it feels a little weirder doing it just because that schedule is scary.
Is there a running back right now whose schedule isn't scary? I mean, Najee Harris, maybe?
Derrick Henry has the best running back schedule going forward. And it's Derrick freaking Henry in December.
I'm so excited because I have several teams that are either first, second, or third that have Henry, all of those teams, and I'm excited.
Yep.
My Scott Fishbowl has Derrick Henry, but they scored 62 points last week, and I am now out officially.
Hey, you made it.
Sorry. I was out last week, if it helps.
I didn't make the playoffs.
Send this off to the Derrick Henry guy. If he's not competitive, Derrick Henry's old, and so he's not going to be good, and he doesn't catch passes. I mean, this offer is fair for both, and I would take either of them for this price.
It's a good. That's actually a good price for like a real price to sell Jacobs for, and it's not like one of those 2 early seconds that people still want to give.
And now one of your streamer running back 2 is your flex, and I would
really consider sending less for Najee Harris if you can't get either. Like,
well, he already got
24 first for Harris. Najee Harris. Okay, missing something. Moving on. Yeah, okay, forget it. What are we giving up for Watson on top of Watson for Hurts?
First.
23 first. Yeah. How was Watson, by the way? I was going to ask. Like, I didn't watch. Was he any good? I heard he struggled, and the offensive line were like letting people tackle him. But I mean, the game points were fine, I guess.
It was not good.
Oh, okay.
It was the rust you should have expected. It was the you should have sold before you stepped foot on the field. But it doesn't matter because the season will end and his value will go back up. But still, it was what I think a couple of people were afraid of.
It
was the bad risk, like if you held on to him.
It was, I mean, yeah, they won, but they played Houston.
It was not.
Yeah, he was 12 of 22 for 131 yards and an interception. And he would. I tell you,
wins,
if people were running 6-yard outs instead of like 9-yard outs, he would have been fantastic.
Yeah, he understood
so many feet.
That's all they have to do. Bring the A dot down a bit.
Yeah, it's bad.
And if you can get
dude, Jarvis Landry isn't in
for
Cleveland
Watson
anymore.
on a first, I would do that.
He's in New Orleans.
Alex, in a tight end premium, start 2 tight ends. Wow. Any tight end 2-3 level players you'd look to target before our deadline.
What you should do is quit that league and join a league that doesn't make you start 2 tight ends. Like, I firmly believe you play whatever makes you happy. I do not league shame. You want to play 8-team league where you only start 4 players, more power to you. Except for 2 tight ends. That's wrong. You don't play it. It's just bad. No, you shouldn't. It's wrong. But to answer your question, no, there is no one. There, like, at that point, who's going to catch 1 yard, one pass for 1 yard and a touchdown?
I think you mean tight ends I target right now based on where the value is and what I expect. George Kittle, and I'm saying him first to make Zach happy. Pat Freiermuth, I think both of them trade at really good value for what I think they're at.
I think he's looking for way lower.
Right.
I don't think you should be. I'd like to take advantage of this position. I would throw value at it. I want lots of value here. But also Greg DeLuch, Cole Kmet before you go on.
Yes, those are the TE2 people you should be going after. Especially with Mooney out. I mean, it's a little rough that Kmet has a bye this week, but
but that may make him acquirable.
That might help you. Yeah, if you could survive this week and not worry about it, going after Kmet right now is a very good idea. Greg Dulcich is probably not realizing how decent he's doing because he's on the Broncos and everyone just wants to make fun of them. But he's doing pretty well. If
you are looking deep, like you're not interested in that kind of play, Hunter Henry is kind of my go-to. Mike Gesicki,
Daniel Bellinger's
I've been doing those 2 for a while. For Evan Ingram.
Yeah, I was just looking at that name. Daniel Bellinger's back. I'd go get him. Tyler Conklin. Jelani Woods.
Conklin is the real sleeper there this year with targets. He's seeing over 5 targets a game, which again, if you got tight end premium, like that's a lot. Like that's really what you're looking at is go look at targets and go look at the tight ends that are seeing targets, and the guys up at the top of that are the players you want.
Got it.
Otherwise, you're just going for touchdowns.
The guy no one wants, no one will ever want, and no one will ever want again, but might fit if by tight end 3 you mean top 36 tight ends, the level we're talking. Austin Hooper.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Nasty, but he's startable in that format, I would guess, and definitely no one wants him.
Has to be at some
point.
You have to start 2 tight ends.
It's really deep. But yeah. Drew Branley. Nice. Late first and a 24 and the 204 for Pitts and the 202. Like you got a second added to Pitts to do that trade. Yeah,
that's Pitts.
Pitts side. Pitts side. What's the most you would pay for Eckler if you were a contender? If you were a contender, I mean, what were we just saying about Jacobs?
I paid a first and a second in the league.
Yeah, like a lot.
Oh, this is an interesting one.
Easily a first and a second, and I wouldn't mind adding a 20. Would you pay a 23 and a 24 first for Eckler if you are like seriously going to win with him? Like, there's no question. You got Eckler, you're winning. Yes.
I would probably want something back. That's a lot. Completely unrelated question.
Okay.
Projected 23, 111, and Devonta Smith or Chris Olave? Like
111.
He wants to say Olave because it's Olave, but like
that's real close. Yes,
that's still a first.
Yeah,
I think you could probably take Olave and get someone else you want more. You could take him and get Olave, go Olave to Wilson or Olave to some other player that you want more than Smith. I like Smith a lot, but I think Olave gets more trades done for you right now. So value-wise, it's probably Olave. I love Smith though. Everyone hates him because he's skinny. But the 111 is kind of a tentative boundary, you know. So a lot of James Cooks in that range.
That was the first DM I ever got from Jacob Rick Road. I posted the Devontae Smith. I did your body is undersized, and he DM'd me and he was like, "That was hilarious." I'm like, I appreciate that. And he's like, "You and Peter and I ought to do a show sometime." And I'm like, absolutely.
And now we have for 2 years in a row. It's the best show. Seriously. We should get wrestling. Can't wait for that one. Anyway, back to Alec here. Yeah, easily a first and a second. I would tentatively suggest 2 firsts. If you're really like, it's got to work. But again, this is one of those where it doesn't necessarily have to be Eckler. So if you throw a first and a second, and the Eckler owner says no, go look at Henry. Go to Harris.
Go look at
Henry. Yeah.
There's
Henry,
a whole
Jacob.
bunch of different options to go.
It is a good year to try and buy a win. So I like the energy. You're looking at it the right way. If you can't, a first and a second, and if you can't get Eckler, try Jacobs, try Henry. That's what I'd say. Open 24 hours, 12-team PPR Superflex start 10. Contender. Give a 23 second plus a 24 second. Get James Cook.
I mean, I don't mind giving seconds to get James Cook. I really don't. I don't think what you saw this week is what you are going to see out of James Cook, like going forward in perpetuity. That said, he's okay. Like, he's a pretty good RB3 on your team.
I think there are better options. You don't want to give up both of those seconds. Like, I would give up one of them.
Yeah, but people just paid a first for him.
That was the wrong thing to do.
I mean, I totally agree with you, but
that's all I got. Yeah. Like, they shouldn't have.
But they just paid a first for him, and they saw the taste of what that first could be this past week. So, like, I think
that's why I think he's the wrong target.
And that's fair.
Yeah. AJ Dillon, Samaje Perine, Rashad White. You could get maybe 1 second. And I think they're better targets with a similar range of outcomes over the next few weeks. In fact, I'd say Rashad White has a better range of outcomes over the following week.
You're not getting Rashad White for a second.
No,
2 seconds.
Not. No. Yeah, I don't think you're getting Rashad White.
Well, then that's fine. But, like, I would try those guys first. I think
yes. Player-wise, I would prefer Rashad White over James Cook at this point.
How about Cordero Patterson? Could probably get him for a single second.
I mean, he's got him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You can get CPAT for a single second.
Yeah.
I feel like we skipped over the Perine thing, and I just think, for the sake of your former co-host, we should just highlight that.
Oh, yes. He's been good the last couple weeks.
Yep. for anyone else who might trade for less. I mean, Pacheco, probably get him for in and around or less than that. Probably as startable.
I sent a late second and 24 third for Pacheco, and Bob Gilchrist publicly laughed at me.
Yeah, but have you seen what he's done with Pitts recently? He's just not what he was.
What about somebody like Zeke?
That would be brilliant. Because
who nobody likes because he's slow and bad, and Tony Pollard is going to be the guy, but he's actually been pretty good the last few weeks. And
last 3 weeks, he's put up 20 points.
Yeah.
Zonovan Knight for 1 second instead of 2 for James Cook.
Yeah, that's actually not a bit. I mean, I don't mind that. He's going to start for the Jets and be the lead back.
Is Carter out? I haven't really seen.
I don't know, but he's been 2 back-to-back 100-yard games, which that is not a Carter thing.
Fair enough. Which makes me sad.
So here's what we're coming to open till 24 hours. Don't mind the energy. And if you think we're wrong on James Cook's range of outcomes, then you do this. Like, don't let us do your player evaluation.
Right.
But we expect something similar to those players who are worth about half. And maybe Rashad White is worth the same, and I'd still rather trade for him or even more.
Even Antonio Gibson, who nobody likes, has actually been okay.
What the hell happened to James Robinson? But anyway,
I mean, he was shot, Peter.
Brian Robinson.
That was Brian Robinson.
Oh, Brian Robinson. James Robinson
he went to the Jets.
Yeah, the witches were. Yeah.
I feel like this is a rare moment we should highlight where I'm not the one who missed.
I was wrong.
Like, for once, it's not me. I enjoy this. But yeah, that's where we're at. If you think we're wrong on James Cooks, this is fine. But we would probably try one of those other guys. Alec, 1 QB tight end premium, 1.5 tight end premium. Andrews and Bell.
No.
For a 23 first. And second, and Waller and White and Monty.
No. As soon as you said Andrews and 1.5 point tight end premium, no. Hang on to Andrews.
Yeah, if there was a 23 first and everything else was one piece, I would maybe consider it depending on what that one piece is, but like
positional advantage.
A lot.
Positional advantage. And I know that he's been this year, but he is a positional advantage.
Yeah, I know, but
Can I ask something about tape watching and someone like David Bell? He's getting a lot of routes. He's on the field. Can you ever watch tape enough to try to figure out what's going maybe wrong, or whether anything is going maybe wrong? Can you see them struggling or not without more volume or more targets?
I would have to specifically go watch a bunch of games of David Bell, which I honestly do not watch a ton of NFL film in the season, and when I do, it's going to look at specific players like this. So I don't necessarily see, everybody. So yes, Peter, I could go back and look at David Bell and what's going on
and see if he's struggling to be in the right place. I mean, you're always reading what's meant to be happening, I guess, in those situations, which you can never know for sure. But
to me, it's not even so much reading what's meant to happen; it's reading whether or not he is successful in what he's trying to do.
And
if he's successful in what he's trying to do, and the quarterback doesn't throw to him, I don't have an answer for that. But
you could think you could highlight those parts, like he's executing well, kind of,
right?
Because that'd be interesting.
I'd have to go back, but yes,
like I don't have a Rondell Moore excuse for David Bell. He's been healthy. He's been playing football the last 2 years, and I'm still in. Again, I was writing this one up for my other article on DLF. If you're now coming to the conclusion on some players, like it's too late. Like if you now figure out Sky Moore is a trade away, then you're definitely taking a loss. Whereas I think by week 5-6, we could be pretty confident if we had good priors. But it's still based on those priors being accurate, which is just thinking your own farts smell good, I'll admit. But with David Bell, I've hung on, and there's no point in me trading him away at this point. Like I may as well roster him for the upside.
Right.
But I just kept holding to that prior. I don't have a way of separating out bad priors from that process. I was interested. Like if you could watch and say, no, he's not executing, then there would be a way.
You could just dump it. Yeah.
RM21 on a rebuilding team that has 323 firsts in the top 6 picks and 523 seconds. Would you try to trade the seconds for 24 firsts or current players? Thanks, love the content. I actually got a question like that on my YouTube video, and the answer is what you have, or my answer is what you have doesn't determine what you should do. You're always looking for good trades, generally. But Zach is right. Like, it's always good to... You're always looking to move out. Like, you've got so many eggs in the 23 basket, it's okay to go looking for a 24 basket, right. Just to spread that, and that's fine. But
and to me, it's not so much the basket, it's the fact that you can move into the first. Like
that's what I ended up saying in my reply, which was way too long to this one comment, by the way. But it was, I'd be more interested in trading up in the first and bleeding some picks and giving some extra picks to go up in the first than I would be to be more concerned with anything else. Like, I want a top 3 pick instead of a top 8 pick, kind of a thing. But having said that, like, I won't discount, like, the hope with those seconds is you catch Higgins or you catch Juju for that first year and second year at least. But you can also trade for those players right now. Like, this question's got, should I trade for current players? And like, that's where I want to try first. If you can get Wilson, if you can get Olave, if you can get Jalen Watt, like, all of those players are worth more to me than the value of picks, because they're still young. They are proven their value is going to go up or maintain the same. So there's less risk in them. But that comes down to who you like, who you rank, and what your league mates, where they're at. And so it's really hard to answer in the generic. But there are current players I would definitely trade for above doing any kind of move up, move down in different drafts. But yeah, Zach answer is much more concrete and probably offers a better example. Try to move up in the first primarily. Try to do that first. Sorry, I'm all over again. Again, it comes down to the real question is, what do I do right now? And the real answer is, what can be done? Right. Shop around for these types of things. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Rashad Bateman, because I called it, damn it, might be slightly undervalued in most leagues. But when I go looking through the trade finder, I don't find easy wins. The one player that stands out to me, misranked by ADP right now, is Rondale Moore. I haven't dug into it deep, but like, he's being ranked as flyers and disappointing rookies right now. And I think his 22-82 season kind of proves his first season a lie. Like, he's more Tyler Boyd than he is.
Well, but everyone's going to remember that everyone's going to remember that Greg Dortch had the 2 games that Moore should have had when he was injured. But I agree with you. I'd be looking at players like Treylon Burks, like Devontae Smith. I think those guys are undervalued. That type of player, you mentioned Moore, and so that's what I would be doing, is trying to get some of those. If you can package seconds together and get one of those players that I think is probably a little better than a second, great. If you can package seconds together and move into a 24 first, or if you can package seconds with your first once the draft happens to move up, a couple of picks and get the guy you want, awesome. The other thing, like, making those picks is also fine, depending on roster construction, depending on how many players you can roster, depending on whether or not you have a taxi squad. So I play in a lot of leagues with taxi squads. Like, I think 3 of my 5, maybe 2 of my 5 have taxi squad. And so I can stash players that I draft in the second round for 2 years, which makes those second round picks way more valuable. And so it really depends on your league, your rosters, the amount of players that you can have on your physical roster. Because, I mean, if you make 5 second round picks and you have to roster 5 second round players, how long is it going to take for that payoff? Yeah. So,
having said that, you're like, they're going to be good. There is typically a few players that go off from the second round, and that's not to be underrated. But the roster ability becomes a problem.
Yeah, to get those
And-
two, you're gonna have to roster 3 others that are clogging your roster, and you won't know who it is until.
I was gonna say, just hearing you talk, I found myself starting from the top and working backwards. I used to like go and find the undervalued players and just send offers on Rondon Moore and work up.
Yeah.
Whereas now I find, as a general rule, I will start at the top. Like my first trade offers go straight for Jalen Waddle, offer max for Jalen Waddle,
Yep.
and then if that in that league I can't get him, then like, all right, how about can I get Amon-Ra St. Brown? And then I work down to the undervalued players.
See, I'm sniping. So what I do is I find the undervalued players that I like, that I think are going to be better than where they're at. And so it's not just that they're undervalued, it's that like they're undervalued and I think they're really good. And so that's kind of how I approach it. But I'm with you. Like I'd rather have Jalen Waddle than any of those guys I mentioned. But I also don't think you're getting Jalen Waddle throwing a bunch of seconds.
Well, it's because like Elijah Moore right now is his name I'd throw out, but I only tumbled down to him because there's a multiple range of outcomes where it's just Garrett Wilson. It's just Garrett Wilson there. And so I protect myself a little way. If I can trade for the top tier and give more value for it, like I protect myself from taking way too many flyers. And again, roster ability becomes effective. But okay. Recovering Ridley Truther, welcome back. Yo guys, 12-team Superflex, 1 PPR league, 2.5 tight end premium, which is steep. Yes, 2.5. Wow. Would you move T-Mac? Why don't I know who that is? I don't know who T-Mac is. Do you? T-Mac and Anon plus a non-playoff 23 first for Lamb. I think so. Who's T-Mac?
I don't know, Peter. It's not coming to the top of my head.
I rely on you to know that kind of thing, to be honest with you. Mac. It's not Mac Jones. It's not.
This is where we need Terry McLaurin, but it's MC. It's
well, thank you, Recovering Ridley Truther, for making me look like an idiot. I need that occasionally. Terry McLaurin plus a mid to late first for I would do that pretty easily.
Yeah. Although I mean,
there are probably better options in that value range, but this is already low from.
McLaurin's scoring pretty well though.
Yeah, he's been doing pretty well lately. And if you want a higher range of point per game outcomes, as Andrew pointed out at the top, it's not really CD in that range.
Right.
I mean, I like CD. Don't get me wrong, top 12 wide receiver. Where is it?
Man, that one's close for me because I think you're right in that Jackson Smith and Jigba range in a 12-team Superflex, especially with the tight end premium that high. With Meyer is going to get some hype. You're going to have the 2 quarterbacks, the 2 running backs. So you're right in that Jackson Smith and Jigba range, and I might rather have JSN and McLaurin for Lamb.
Yeah, I think you could get other players for this. I mean, this seems like a low offer. That's why I said yes. A first and Terry McLaurin for Lamb seems like a outright win. But you're looking for points per game, and I'm not sure Lamb's a play for that. Lamb's fine. He's not. I mean, could you get Debo? Could you get Ayuk has been doing similar, to be fair, and improving lately. To your Terry McLaurin point.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just thinking out loud, which is never a thing I should do because my thoughts are mostly trash. But I don't know.
I mean, McLaurin over the last 6 weeks has been a top 10. He's been a top 10 wide receiver. Of course, so is CD Lamb, but they've been like Lamb is like. I mean, Lamb's doing better than McLaurin, but
over the last 6 weeks, let's see.
I think Lamb's outscoring him by what? Well, I guess that's quite a bit. It's 4 points a week, so that's.
Yeah, CD Lamb's averaging 19.1 6.1 points per
Yeah.
game of the last 6 weeks. Terry McLaurin is significantly.
About
13.7. Oh, wait, 15.6.
I would say I got him higher than that. Yep.
It's like 4 points per game.
Yep.
But between the two, Garrett Wilson has been technically averaging slightly more than Terry McLaurin. He's way too much more. Christian Kirk, 16.9.
Yeah.
And he's probably less. If you want more than CD Lamb, Hopkins. No, if you're a contender and you're trying to get points per game advantage, like this trade is good, by the way. I would do this just generically for CD Lamb. But like if you're looking for points, I think Hopkins, right? He's got to come for Terry McLaurin or a single first.
Oh, you'd be able to do less than. I mean, you could probably get Hopkins for a second plus at this point, depending on the team he's on.
Yeah. So yeah, I would decide. I mean, this is a fine mid-range trade, but if you want to go all the way to points, get Hopkins for less. But it's your team. I think this trade's fine. Late 23 first and a 22 and the 202 for Pitts. We did this one.
I think we did this one. We
killed it.
Like the
He
Pitts
killed
one.
it,
Yep.
Sorry, it takes us a while to get to everything. Alec, Lamb or Godwin, Sanders, a third and a fourth. Lamb. If we're gonna sell high, let's get more than we could have 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Gavin, contender team, PPR 1 QB start 9. Give Deontay, who I don't like trading right now, 23 first, and Zonovan for Godwin. Is that 2 picks or just one? That
Godwin, the 204, the 206, the 308, somewhere. Oh no, it's the 204 to the. So it's 2 picks. So it's a mid second and a late third plus Godwin for a late first and Deontay and Zonovan Knight.
I want Deontay in the first. I know you like Godwin a little bit more than me, probably rightly.
Yeah.
I mean, the 110 to the 112 isn't great, to be fair.
Right. One quarterback makes it worse. I mean, it's pretty even. If it's you're saying contending team, probably Godwin gives you more points than Deontay for the rest of the season.
That's fair.
But it's not one that I'm like cheering and being.
Yeah, I
super
wouldn't
happy
trade
about.
away Zonovan Knight if you want points either. I mean, may as well keep him. Again, what does Hopkins cost? If you're a contending team and you're looking for more points than Deontay giving you right now, I think you can get better than this. Yeah. This is just, I like Godwin. This is a contending team also trying to add the player they think is going undervalued. And I try to focus on what I need. If you need points, it's not about the fact that you like Godwin so much. But do you think Godwin's really going to... I mean, he's been 16 points per game over the last 6.
Yeah, I think Godwin is... I think Godwin gives you a better chance than Deontay. But again, it's not like... I'm not dancing with this trade. I'm saying, yeah, I think I won, but it's not... I don't know that gets you over the hump, Gavin.
I'd be more interested in trading for Hopkins, but this is a good trade. Recovering Ridley, truth. Being a glass case of emotion point scoring season. Are there any new different strategies you want to try this upcoming non-point scoring season? Rostering, construction, trade, startup. I have done my off-season research. I'm not sure what the 2023 year is going to bring. And no, I'm more perfecting the way I try and approach season by season. I can't think of anything drastically new. I am thinking about much more focusing... like right now, I'm buying value in the off-season. I'll be buying points because they get cheaper in the off-season. And so players like Josh Jacobs are going to be a little cheaper in the off-season. I think that's interesting. I think running back's a really interesting landscape this off-season, but I don't have anything specific. I think what I'm doing is currently working for my rosters. I'm not winning enough, but I'm getting better.
This is going to be an interesting off-season because I think so many people have sworn off running backs. Like we're headed back into that cycle where wide receivers are coming back into vogue because you've seen Najee Harris kind of fall on his face. You've seen Jonathan Taylor kind of fall on his face. You've seen it's been an interesting year. And Peter, you kind of called it with from the preseason, but it's been an interesting year. It's been the older players kind of staying relevant and staying good, and people don't want older running backs. It'll be an interesting offseason, especially for me who plays wide receiver forward. Like I typically build around wide receivers, and so it'll be an interesting thing, Ridley Truther, to see how I can navigate that. This, I mean, just happens to be, it's kismet. It happens to be you, but like Calvin Ridley could be a buy toward the end of the season before people realize, oh yeah, he's the wide receiver one in Jacksonville, and Jacksonville has actually sustained some pretty decent wide receiver play with poor wide receivers, and Christian Kirk, who's a mediocre wide. Like Christian Kirk is like slightly above the average, I think, in terms of wide receiver. But like Calvin Ridley could be really, really dynamic there for the next few years, and Trevor Lawrence has started to get better. So like that's the sort of thing that I'm doing. But there's nothing big. It's not like an overarching. I got to find one new dynasty league. I'm going to find a startup, but.
I want to do another startup. I've lost a few leagues this season, actually. So we lost one together last off season. So
that's the one I got to
one.
replace.
But I'm looking for one with people that I like. Like most of the people I play in are like, I'm really full on leagues. I got 20. And I'm like, all right. But again, this is like trying to answer a rookie question before I get there. I know we're interested in what's next, but like I try not to hurry myself. What I suspect is it's going to be a buy points off season. Ridley is an interesting one for that. I think Josh.
But you got to do it.
Jacobs off the top of my head.
You got to do Ridley
Harris
before the off season though, because there's going to be a hype train. Yeah, you got to do it. You got to do it like now. You got to do it at the end of this season. Figure out who's got them on the end of their bench and fire a second or fire a player who's scoring points right now.
All right,
but.
Anyway, that's where we're at. Open 24 hours in that same league.
I'd rather do that.
302 for Foreman. Yeah. Alex loves life. Isn't Andrews the guy who sold Chase Tony straight up? I can't remember. And
I don't know, but I tell you what, we appreciate that Andrews in the chat. Like dissent. Like I got right here. Protect dissenting opinions at all costs. It's my little like I want to have people that disagree with us, and because that either makes you see something from another perspective that you didn't have before, which makes you better, or it strengthens your argument. You know, you have to think about how you're defending, and so that makes you better. So like I want to have dissenting opinions. We're not always going to be right.
Please. Yeah. I would rather have nothing but. No. And again, I hope that shows. I hope, Andrew, if you hung around, heard what I said. If that, I can't even remember if that's you who made that trade. But at the time of that trade, that is so the opposite of where I'm at with CeeDee Lamb and Tony. And I consistently been far different. But when he said it, I wasn't like, oh, that guy's an idiot. I think I responded to it fairly respectfully and said, I get the upside and try to see it from his perspective, because that's mostly the best way I've tried to find to learn. But hopefully that shows through. But yeah. Would you trade Foreman and Latavius Murray to a contender for a 24-second in one QB? I mean, probably. Murray for a second is trade Foreman and Murray.
Yeah, probably. But
yeah, it's fine.
You probably could get maybe just a yet more. See if you can get a second and a third, and then pair the two seconds.
You can get more.
Pair your second and that other second, and try to get up into the first. Like that's how you build, and then use that third to trade with your future second to get into the second for a guy that you want. Buy that on credit.
Zach Reed special. Add a second to a third to a second and get a first. There you go.
No, you add a third to a second to get the second that you want, Peter. Unless you're in a league with Peter and you try to give him a first to get Rondale Moore, and he's like, no.
And damn it, I was right. Andrew traded Chubb for Swift in a PPR league. I'm qualified for the playoffs between 4th and 6th, which means we're just into the variance territory. That's cool, Andrew. Depending if I win this week. Okay. We have 2 superpower teams, which isn't great. No, I actually know exactly what you're talking about. I don't need more. I've been in leagues where there's 2 clear winners. If you make it into the playoffs, though, it really is like as much as we try and plan and try to know. And we were talking about this in Discord all week. It's like they worked so hard and we learned so much good stuff this off season. It still didn't work, and that can happen. And so, even though you've got super teams in your league, which can happen, it is just variance when you get into the playoffs. But in your situation, you should be trying to concentrate on value because you know that there are 2 super teams and you're borderline playoff capable. Having said that, hey, welcome back, Russ.
Am I crazy that I would rather have Chubb than Swift if I'm in the play, like if I'm trying to win a playoff league? I would rather.
I think trading Swift is a move because you can get points for him and value because he's younger, whereas Chubb is better.
Yeah, but
but
this like
time because Swift finally scored points last week.
Yeah. But this is an interesting to me, like that. I don't want to make a trade a running back for a running back anyway. Like I don't want to do that. I'd rather trade if I'm going to trade Chubb. I'd rather trade Chubb for Aaron Jones plus a young wide receiver or something. Something like that.
That's what I mean. Like I think you should concentrate on value. And this is fine because you're getting more value technically in Swift, but I'd much rather switch positions. Get Pitts plus, I don't know, Ramondre Stevenson or whatever's available in your league. You're trying to maintain points because you want a chance to win, but your focus is on value because of the league situation you described. Hey, Russ, how you doing? You okay?
Daddy, I'm not asleep, but I want to be sleeping. I guess we're going to snuggle. Don't know what to tell you.
That sounds like a win, though. I mean,
it was
honestly.
Yeah.
See, he recovering. There you are, Peter.
Phil.
He's an old fat grandpa, man. Sorry.
I am. Start 9. Contender. Strong contender. With strengths at quarterback and wide receiver, which is exactly where you want to be. Would you trade the 103 in a late second? Wait.
Yes.
103 plus 2 late 23 first. Heck it. 1 early, 2 late. Okay, so it's 3
Probably.
for the 101
in a 1 quarter. Yeah, but in a 1 quarterback league, I'm probably doing it.
2 late first just to move up 2 spots.
Okay, again, McCaffrey prime, Saquon prime. Would you have traded a 103 and 2 late first? To get
again,
that?
just because I use word "just" doesn't mean I was dismissing it. It doesn't make it less than it is. Yeah, I think this is.
Because that's like Bijan literally. Okay, so I know that we talked about this last week, but out of players I've graded, Saquon, CMC, and then in that next group is Dalvin Cook, Bijan, and Robinson, and there was one other. Oh, Jonathan Taylor is right underneath.
So I thought to myself as you were talking, and it just like binged in my head. 1 quarterback equivalents picks in Superflex. The 103 is probably at best the 105.
Yeah.
And then those late firsts are going to be seconds.
Yes.
So would you trade in Superflex the 105 and 2 seconds for the 101? And the answer is hell yes.
Yes.
So ignore everything I just said. Yeah, go do that.
That's a 3 yes consensus. I winced painfully. But yeah. Andrew Carlson, not one of them, will be starting Hollywood Deontay and Mike Williams as my top wide receivers, although I do have Josh Allen. That was from the Chubb Swift thing. I think I'm in the same place. I think you focus on value. And if you've got Chubb and you can trade him right now, because you don't have a trade deadline apparently, I would switch to a different position. I'm trying to get my favorite, best value, not value wide, my best young wide receiver in that top tier. Like, that's who I want. That's where my mind would be at. Switch position. I mean, this Chubb for Swift trade's fine. You're technically adding value, but
we missed
trying to keep your points.
Missed the window on St. Brown when he was injured, and everyone was like, well, he's not going to come back and be good.
I think we
Jameson
did.
Williams is going to be the guy.
We did miss it. Yeah.
You still can't get good trade value for Amon-Ra St. Brown.
No, I will give you good trade value for Amon-Ra St. Brown. I want him on my teams.
Me too. He's had hasn't he never had less than 10 targets? That's extreme, but it's pretty close.
I mean, ever since that last few weeks of last season, it feels like
it is closer to being true than should be possible. Put it that way.
Yeah, it's one of those where the games that he hasn't been injured since he became a starter, he's just been unreal.
It's almost like he's good. I don't know. It's weird. Recovering Really Truth. Hook's on my top 5 movies. I actually really like it as a movie. I do too. I mean, you got Dustin Hoffman playing Hook.
I can't feel my leg.
It's so weird. It's wonderful. I love how Peter's son went on to be Andrew from Can't Hardly Wait.
That movie's so good.
Gavin, Montgomery greater than Herbert.
Nope.
No, and Dynasty. Take away Herbert's blow-up game.
Yeah, but you can't take away games. Like, that's the thing. Like, if you take away a player's good plays, he's not good.
Yeah, like if I take away everyone else in the league, David Bell hit.
The only player you can do that with, Gavin, is Garrett Wilson when you're trying to get him over Chris Olave. Because I will tell you, I saved this tweet just for you, Gavin. Garrett Wilson is pacing for a rookie season of 98 catches, 1,600 yards, and 13 touchdowns on 190 targets in games with Joe Flacco and Mike White.
I think, I mean, yeah, it's a Jalen Waddle of his draft class. Everyone likes him. He's good, but he's overshadowed by Olave. Same with Waddle for Chase.
I don't think he's overshadowed
still
by Olave. I think it's
Waddle and Chase.
He was.
I don't mean overshadowed as in bad. I mean in terms of ranks and value.
No,
who's rostered.
Yes, he was, but I think people caught on more.
Oh, they did eventually.
Garrett Wilson,
a significant window.
A lot of people do still have Olave above him, but it's not what it was 2 months ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Mike White.
I want to take a ride, and I have enjoyed it so far. It has been a good price, good value on that price of admission. And only took a pointless Naheem Hines trade for Cook to send me. Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Not wrong.
Running back's just weird, man.
I can't wait.
James Robinson goes from good to bad for some reason.
I can't wait
Naheem
for the
Hines is suddenly bad on a different. Running back's weird. I can't take.
I can't wait for the Bills to draft Devin A-Chain in the 3rd round next year. I can't. It's going to be so much fun.
And Andrew Gay says that was his trade. Recovering Ridley Truther, Kung Fu Powder and Hook references only 5 minutes in. This is
you guys did not catch up a lot of ground while I was gone.
I blame Pete.
I blame Zach. You know, that's all point fingers. Alec, thoughts on Hopkins? If you're a contender, how much would you pay? I mean, I've literally mentioned him twice as someone you can get for a first or less. And if you're a contending team and you're trading a late first for Hopkins and you need that points per game upside, I think it's worth it.
I did a ridiculous trade with John Bosch in Trade Addict 10 that
shocked.
Ended up being gigantic. But one of the ways it started was Bosch offering me DeAndre Hopkins for Mike Williams in a late second. And I would have taken it, but the talk started about me going after Devontae Adams, and I'm like, I can't not get Adams now. We talked about it, and so the trade was gigantic, and I got both of them. But like John Bosch, who is Mr. Strict on value, was the one who offered me Mike Williams and a late second, and I'm like, what are you trying to pit my hashtag Team Clemson big wide receiver against each other? No, that's not how I roll. And then he starts calling me an asshole and laughing at me. But yeah, so technically I did do that. because those were all still part of the trade, and then it was Pittman, Ayuk, and Allen Robinson for Devontae Adams. I felt good about it.
I got Hopkins for a second, but it was the week before he came back.
Oh,
I think
fair.
you're probably
Right
it's
move.
probably closer to a first now. It's like right on that cusp.
You have to do second plus now for sure.
Yeah. But it's a great buy for a contender because he's scoring points and he's
very good.
He is it on that team. Like not the only player, but he is like it.
Some Jamoke just sent me a running back. Russ,
What?
you just offered. I can't describe how bad my Trade Addicts team is. Like, it's intentionally bad at this point. Like, I'm bottom of the league. I think I've scored minus points somehow. Like, I have no interest in points. I've fully tanked. And you're offering me Damon Pierce.
Yeah. He's young.
All right.
And not really scoring points right now.
Yes.
But he has value. It's better for your team than Tyler Lockett is.
His value's due to drop, though. Anyway, yeah, I think he's worth trading for, that being Hopkins. Can I ask you, Wilson, Olave, Kupp, Debo Samuel? They're a tough ranking situation to me right now because I'd rather have Kupp and Debo if they're being very below them. But in Dynasty ranks, aren't we meant to push them above the older players?
But the way you said it, I think, is my order.
Yeah.
What was the order that he said?
Wilson, Olave, Kupp, Debo.
Yeah.
And a separate tier, right?
Man, I might.
And
it's
honestly,
it's
Debo's
really
tiers below the rest of them for me.
It's really close to me. I might and I might put Kupp above Olave.
Yeah,
it's really close.
I can get behind that.
And Kupp is not not much behind Wilson for me. So like those three are like real close.
I just gave the youth the little bit of bump for the sake of argument, but if I was drafting for reals, well, you'd have to take the young guys first, but those three guys are very, very close in value to me. Debo is... It's so weird that he still has a decent ADP because there is... Trading him away is insanely difficult. I ended up trading pretty much Debo for Dalvin Cook today.
I'm not trading Debo right now for precisely that reason. Like, I mean,
I want points.
And you ain't gonna get him with Debo, you know. It just seems. I don't know. Sorry. I think he's interesting value-wise right now. It's like Deontay Johnson. I get it, but like he's a good player. I mean, at a certain point. Alec, how much is Burrow's price in 1 QB if you need a quarterback? Yeah, it's single first, preferably not top 5 pick. Recovering Reddit Truther, how many people will say, I told you on Twitter for the 4th year if Jacobs finishes running back 1. All of them. Everyone has a tweet somewhere they can retweet and say, I predicted this perfectly. It's ridiculous at this point. I think we just got into my introduction, by the way. Who would you rather have on your fantasy team? T. Higgins or Amon-Ra? Decent question. I have Amon-Ra ranked higher.
Yep.
These are two very different questions. Okay, no, yeah. Who would I rather have? Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Fair.
I mean, who would I rather have?
Who's better value? Who would you rather go get? Amon-Ra.
Amon-Ra's going to score more. Eventually, he will probably jump him in ranks, but...
So Gavin knows. He knows how to ask this question. He's like, I'm going to get him to say it. I'm going to get him
Gavin,
to say
you know me.
If they were in the same Superflex draft class, would you take Caleb Williams or Bijan at the 101?
They're not in the same draft class, so I haven't
watched Caleb Williams. This is what I'm curious about.
I'm guessing that's a 24 person?
All I know is that Travis May is saying there's basically only about 8 quarterbacks in the league right now, better than the top few quarterbacks in this year's draft class. And Travis tends to know what he's talking about. And that means He should go above Bijan Robinson. In the
But Caleb Williams is not in this draft class, Peter.
Oh, okay. Then I have no idea.
No, he plays quarterback for USC, but he's going to be another.
Oh no.
No?
I'm sorry. Like, I joke around with like loving Miami tight ends and like USC wide receivers and hashtag Team Clem. Well, I do love hashtag Team Clem is a big wide receiver, but I'm sorry, no USC quarterbacks. No, no USC quarterbacks.
I like it. I don't know. I've heard of him, so he's
doesn't matter.
Pretty good.
Doesn't matter. He won't make it in the NFL.
Where Rachaad White fit in the 23 running back class? Since we had to fight for him to be liked in the 22 running back class, I'm guessing fairly low.
So I can give you an answer to that. You guys carry on, and I'll tell you where he is. I've only got 9 running backs so far.
We'll come back to you, KS. Promise.
Rachaad White was where he was more than anything because of the landing spot
and draft capital, but yeah.
Yeah, like no one was really thrilled about the player. In which
we liked his production a lot. Yeah.
And I think Rachaad White is only gaining the value now because of how he's doing in the NFL. This has nothing to do with, well, we saw this in college and his profile, and now that he's doing this. No, it's literally just Tampa Bay is using him well. So I don't think he would fit in very well in 23. Like, if any, at best, we're probably talking RB4 or 5, and that's just based on the little tidbits of what I know about the 23 class.
So out of the 9 running backs that I've watched, Rachaad White would be 10.
There you go. Yeah.
I like Rachaad White in this running back class, though. There's a lot undervalued. I think he's very capable. I think he's showing that. I have no idea of this running back class, but there you go. Matthew Swan, 10-team, half-point PPR, Superflex start 9, currently on the 101 and the 103. Nice place to be. And a late in the 6 to 10 range. Current roster is on my next message. Want to explore upgrading my first from the 101?
No, his late.
His late. Okay. Let me just go find your roster. Here it is. I got a dip for a second. I got to get a drink.
All right. So Herbert, Mac Jones, Malik Willis. Running backs are Ken Walker. Wide receivers Drake London, Michael Pittman, Gabe Davis, George Pickens, Jerry Jeudy, Alan Lazard, Mike Williams. Tight ends. Was thinking of moving for Goddard. Would love your ideas. So you're not looking to
move
upgrade.
Up with that
you're
pick.
You want to use your late first to upgrade your team. I thought you were asking to trade up in the first.
Here's the thing, though, with trading for Goddard, who is good. I think that you're going to see Meyer come in and be ranked right in the same neighborhood as Goddard. And that's not out of the realm of in a, a 10-team Superflex. That's not out of the realm of being in that range, 106 to 110. Meyer may be there. You may have a running back that you like. There may be one of these wide receivers that ends up there. Like, I'm not necessarily going to go get Goddard to upgrade my team. I would be interested in moving that pick or moving around, potentially pairing that pick with Algier and actually getting a running back.
Well, he's
Jerry Jeudy
103. You said, right? So
yeah. So you're gonna have Bijan. You're gonna have Ken Walker.
Yeah, honestly, well, he probably has to start 2 running backs, in which case you will need a third. But like, I don't worry about that now. Like, maybe I take that 106 to 110, put it with Gabe Davis or Pittman, and go get yourself a stud wide receiver.
Even Pickens. Like, I think if you could pair Pickens and that 106 to 110 and go up and get a St. Brown, go up and get a Waddle, go up and get somebody in that range, which you're
Is the
gonna
hype
be
still there
close.
for Pickens, or
It
has it
should
gone
be.
away since the
No,
trade?
it's going to be. I don't think the ADP shows it yet, but I think it's going.
Yeah.
I honestly, I left him out because I thought his value was a little too low. But if the hype is still there for him, then absolutely, yeah, I would use Pickens in that as well. The only
I would
person
use Jerry
hold
Judy
on
the
to
same
London
way.
because London's value will go up in the offseason.
Yeah.
I would move every other one of those wide receivers. Honestly, I like having Gabe Davis on my teams now, which is weird for the exact reason Peter says. Like, he's not terrible, but he'll win you a week every once in a while.
Yeah.
You know, so like I kind of like having Gabe Davis on my teams, but still, I would absolutely trade him if someone valued him.
Yeah, I think the sell windows have gone on Gabe Davis. He's just rust. I mean,
Are you claiming you're right on that too now?
no, I'm saying at this point you might as well roster him and flex him because people have seen the up and down enough times. I don't think you're getting that first term. Yeah, I think Judy. I don't think Lazard's worth anything, but I think Judy and Pickens are both players that you can use to tier up with. People are excited. No one's excited about Jerry Judy. He has done well since coming back from injury. He's still ranked around the 6th or 7th round, and he's like 23, 22 years old still. I think he's 18. I think he literally was just born. He's so young. And age is about value. And being kept in that range, it means you can sell that value to tier up with. So I think you're first, plus Judy, to go up to that. I don't think you can get Waddle.
See, that's what
Amon-Ra
that
and
level
Pickens and CD offer all these counterpoints to ADP. Like CD is there in ADP, but I don't think a lot of people outside of my leagues aren't trading them that way. It's just people in my leagues. Whereas Waddle is the opposite, I think, for the majority of leagues. So I think you have to go slightly below that tier, but you could easily get a player like Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, I mean,
with that package, and that's what I'd be looking to do.
Yeah, I put both Amon-Ra and CD Brown, nice, CD Lamb, like in that conversation with those studs that you can go get to center your team around. So yeah, yes, that's my way of saying I agree. Yes,
but give me a second.
He was so shocked that I agreed with him. That sure.
Something I was just talking about with Zach. Like, don't use this as a rule. Like, this works. But if you want to mega brain it a little bit and understand it, hold it loosely. A conviction loosely held. If you're looking for a better wide receiver, a later pick in this year's draft is where in the first is where to be to get them. Just to throw that out there. So if you're looking to upgrade the pick, literally to move it up to the 102 because you want a wide receiver, like I don't think you have. Like, I think you're in the best range to try and snag one if you get lucky and pick the right one. So I just wanted to throw that out.
Well, we were talking about upgrading his wide receiver. He didn't ask about upgrade. Like, that's what Zach and I were saying was the move we would do.
Exactly. He's talking about upgrading his pick specifically. What is Pickens' upside? Honestly, I defer back to our preseason notes. I think he has as much upside as anyone in this draft class at the wide receiver position, like max upside.
So the question is, can he be a top 10 receiver in Dynasty? This past month, so November, I know we're in December now, but November ADP on DLF has him at wide receiver 18, and he hasn't even done anything yet. Yes, he can be a top 10. Now, will he be?
I don't think he will be.
Probably not.
Can be.
But he can be.
Yep. Again, he's going to be one of those players that finish outside the top 36. I'm not going to undervalue him to the market. I'm not a complete idiot. Like, he's been really impressive. And I thought lots of him coming into this draft. But he's exactly what Zach just said. Like, he's done well, but he hasn't done anything yet. They're valuing what he could be already. And so I'm more likely to trade it away than I am to trade for it. But yeah, he's got a lot of upside. So did Martavius Bryant, it's just.
Oh, don't you put those, don't you fix your face to say that.
I didn't say that. I will deny it.
That was, if he was
How
in the
about
league
Odell
right
Beckham?
now, hashtag
The only
big wide receiver,
sluggish
baby.
first round season. Like, I honestly find myself thinking about Odell Beckham a lot. Not because of the off-season stuff, but because there was a sluggishness to Odell Beckham's first season until
but he was hurt. He was hurt.
Yeah, he was hurt early and he really came on late. And it's probably just all the references to the great catches he's making that's put it in my head. But, like, I know that. I mean, again, I made a bad comparison. There's another bad comparison on the opposite end.
And I mean, we make
balance
fun
it.
of Eli and all, but he's better than Pickett was. Well, he was better than Pickett is.
Yeah. Eli Manning. Oh, sorry, it took me a second. It's been a while. How many Super Bowl
Been a while.
rings? Like none? Probably not. Probably not.
2
Infinite possibilities.
against the Patriots, Peter.
I know. Infinite possibilities. I'm jacked up right now, and I need your help. Which running back would you pick up, and in what order? Ingold, Alec? Alec? A running back?
Alec Ingold is one player.
Oh,
from
he's
Miami.
doing the two named. Oh, Alec
He
Ingold,
copied and
Malik
pasted.
Davis, Benny Snell, Wayne Gallman. I don't have any strong preference. I don't think.
Snell, Gallman, Davis, Ingold.
I honestly, I'm putting Ingold first, and then Gallman, and then I don't want the others.
Yeah.
With the weirdness of having Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert as your running backs, Ingold has still been getting goal line work.
Yeah.
You're not getting anything out of any of these guys. You might get a touchdown with Ingold.
Right.
Yeah, I don't have much on any of those guys. Ingold's the only one who shows up in the top 300 players in flex. That helps. Yeah, I don't know. Do what that guy said. He's more tuned into the deeper running backs, I guess. Andrew A. Falling for Richardson, quarterback from Florida, FLA. Is that Florida? What's FLA?
Yeah, Florida.
Don't think he would declare without a top 10 guarantee. My thoughts. Going to take the 103 this year. Your thoughts would be appreciated. I'm really not up, especially on quarterbacks.
Well, and
Nice.
he's a and I haven't watched him yet, but he's another one of the running quarterbacks, the guys who can get it done with his legs. So that's the type of quarterback that I'm interested in Dynasty. But by the same token, Andrew, I'm not making a decision on him until, and I said the same thing last year with Malik Willis. We talked about Malik Willis being a top 5 pick in Dynasty, being the 101 in Dynasty rookie drafts. If he gets first round capital, if he gets top 12 capital. So you're right. We have to wait and see what happens with the NFL draft, because that tells us more, especially about quarterbacks, than anything else. I'm looking for draft capital. I'm looking for the ability to gain yards with their legs. So at least, 30, 40 yards a game, and then guys who can do more than that. So
And the NFL loves Florida quarterbacks. They always get more chances than they should.
Yeah.
And not just to Andrew.
Kept getting chances.
If you're looking for an edge on rookie evaluation, I'm really not going to be ready to this offseason. Zach's working on it. And Russ just, I don't know, Russ won't tell me his secrets, but that's where we're at. I can't recommend Travis A. He works for Mojo now, so we don't like him, but I can't recommend Travis May as a follow on Twitter for a heads up on who's good in a rookie class. For the next 3 rookie classes, Travis is the guy I'm listening to first.
Yeah.
Debbie Kane's another good one. Like, those guys already know what I will figure out in about 2 months. So if, like Andrew, you've got a question that you really want like a forewarning on, those are the people I go and check out first. So I just thought I'd mention that.
But then again,
anyone else? Those are my 2 go-tos.
Yeah, I mean, those are to me, it's Travis always has way ahead. Well, and Felix Sharp. I always give Felix Sharp a shout out. Like, I think I think he with Campus to Canton. Huh?
Mm-hmm. Said he loves you so much for it.
He's such a good evaluator and is such a nice human being, which I appreciate probably even more than his evaluation. But Andrew, the one thing I would say is planning on where you're spending your 103 already is a dangerous thing, because you kind of get locked in and take lock. And I get that it's tempting to do that, and it's fun to be the first on it and be able to flag plant and but it's better to be right, at the end than it is to be first.
Yeah. Overdraft, but overdraft as little as you have to. It's the
Yeah.
kind of way I think. I flag plant every year. John Bosch always gets one over me. I took David Bell well too high in a draft this year. I do it, but I only do it as high as I think I absolutely have to. It's the best way I can say it. Just to throw that out there. Alec, where is Zach in his rookie research? He's been mentioning it. It's like 9 running backs in. We need updates. Thoughts on running back heavy first round. It's going to be a running back heavy first round. It is.
Yeah.
I already know that.
I mean, it's like Bijan Robinson is that, next elite back. At least he looks like it. Jahmyr Gibbs, depending on where he lands. To me, he might be a little bit of a trap. It feels a little bit Swifty to me, where I'm not sure that he's going to be a bell cow. I'm not sure that he's going to be the 225, 250 carry guy, but I do think if you put him on a team and let him catch passes, he's going to be a lot of fun. There's a Zach Evans who is a good runner. I mean, there's a whole lot of even Zach Charbonnet, who I didn't expect to like because I watched him last year. He is a senior this year, which puts him on a little bit older side, which I'm less concerned with about running backs than I am wide receivers, but still that gives you some pause. I wasn't expecting him to like him as much as I did. I liked him an awful lot. I think he can do a little bit of everything. Like he's that like secret bell cow in this class. He won't be a secret when it all happens. Kendre Miller is really good. Sean Tucker, out of Syracuse. Sean Taylor's fantastic, but pretty old coming out. But Sean Tucker out of Syracuse can do kind of a little bit of everything. Was a 1,400 yard guy last year with 20 catches. Like there's a lot to like. Devin A-Chain I mentioned earlier, but he's like 5'9", 185, but it's like the Devin Singletary thing where you watch him and he can actually run inside and you're like, you don't run inside, but he can. Like there's an awful lot to like about this running back class, and there's kind of something for everyone. And I'm only 2 wide receivers in, so we'll get there, Alexander. But yes, there are a lot of good running backs. I mean, to me, if I was looking at this year and last year combined, it would be Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall. It would be really close, probably break the tie to Jahmyr Gibbs, but it would be really close between Gibbs and Walker. And then it's this 2023 class for like the next 7 picks.
I think where I'm at in terms of this class fitting in historically, and again, history doesn't repeat, but I think this is more a 2012, 2016 might be a fairer comparison draft class. There are good players here. Both of those were largely derailed by injury. So again, history doesn't repeat. I think we're going to draft it like 2017, and it's going to be not quite that.
Well, I don't think it is 2017. Like, again, in 2017...
I wasn't objecting to you. I was just responding to a question Alex didn't ask.
In 2017, there were 3 players that I graded out like Bijan Robinson in this class. 3, which is ridiculous. But it also... that class was ridiculous.
And there was a lot of depth in that class.
Yeah.
Too.
I think we are ridiculously thirsty for it. And I think that's going to affect the ADP.
That is
that's what I'm saying. I think the ADP is going to be very running back heavy, and rightly so for this class, but we're going to have outside expectations. And again, I haven't even looked at them yet, so what do I know?
But I also think you're going to see 3 or 4 or 5 players have fantasy impact.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. For sure. Both of those classes had great players in them. At running back, yeah. Josh Economos. I probably said that wrong. Season on the line. Start Gallup, Damian Pierce, Pacheco at flex.
Pacheco.
I have to look it up. I don't know if you guys have thoughts.
Pacheco is their running back. If you get any points for return yardage, he does that very well also. But I mean, Gallup hasn't been dependable this year at all. Damian Pierce, that offense is just so bad that it's going to take something weird for him to do well at this point. That I just think Pacheco is honestly the safe and the ceiling play. Sorry, we didn't talk for long enough for Peter to find his answer.
Did not. I would say Damian Pierce is due some touchdown regression. I know that off the top of my head because I've been looking at it for DLF.
Yeah, but the team has to get him into the red zone.
Well, last week they did more of it. And again, they faced two defenses where they've had two games where basically the rushing game died because they were in such a bad game script. And last week, when it evened out to a more balanced game script with Cleveland, his points came back up. So I think he might be a little underrated based on the way the matchups have gone recently. Why can't I say Pacheco? Is he not? Have I not projected him? Is he injured or something?
Dare you? What are you even doing here?
I don't know.
Besides just looking good.
Not even doing that, let's face it.
Everyone is sitting here watching you type into a key on your computer.
Well, then maybe you should do something. I don't know. Maybe you should provide some level of entertainment on this show for a change. Have you thought of that?
No.
Should we juggle? Oh, no, sorry.
Juggle! I mean, or, something. I don't have him projected this week. Is he injured?
Who?
Pacheco.
No, he's not hurt.
City running back. I gotta fix that. Yeah, I've got Damian Pierce as a start.
You're wrong.
JFN has been hurt most of the year. Most
Yes.
tape will be last year. That's fair.
Had a hamstring. He's had 15 catches outside of last year. So his rookie year, his freshman year, and his junior year, he's had 15 total catches. But you should, just for kicks, go watch the game he played. The first game he ever played as a freshman against Nebraska. He only had 2 catches for 5 yards. Russ, I sent you that clip.
Oh, that was amazing!
I have never seen anybody with the body control. There's a play on the back line of the end zone. He goes up, makes a catch, looks down, is like, "Oh no, I am a yard and a half out of bounds," and then puts his toe back in bounds for the touchdown. And it didn't absolutely
even look,
amazing.
First of all, it didn't look like he even looked, and second, it's like the top of his body was still moving forward.
Oh yeah,
he defied physics and somehow moved the bottom of his body and then angled his. It was like I had to watch it 3 times to make sure I saw what I saw.
But I mean that one again, and the way Andrew, the way I do my evaluation, like that only counts as one play. Like it's not in the grand scheme of like evaluating Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like that doesn't factor. But man, that was such a fun play. It was just like amazing. And he did he caught the ball and then he put the ball in one hand to be able to maneuver his foot. It was
like nice. I literally just like
it was
like
nice.
Up to the screen so I could watch that happen over and over. Yeah, those are the kinds of things that does make me fall in love with players. But that.
And Andrew goes on to say, watch the Rose Bowl last year. Yeah, look, he had like 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like, yes, but that's not a realistic. I know that's the ceiling. That's not what I do. That's not what I want to do. I don't want to have that. Like, I'll watch that game, but it still only counts as what he did. What I do is go and watch, again, 8 to 12 games, 8 to 14 games, and basically do a plus minus. And when I go back and do my evaluation, I can see what he did. So I can see that against Nebraska in 2021, he had 6 times where he got separation versus man. I can tell you what routes he got it. I can tell you he worked underneath the zone like 9 times. and then I can look at Oregon and say he found holes in the zone 7 times, and so I can go back and look and say, okay, he gets open against man, he gets open against zone, he does things that I want to see out of a slot receiver and out of a player who's going to drive a ton of targets, and so that's how I'll do my evaluation rather than like highlight scout or rather than watch like the big game, which is cool. It's fun. It's awesome. Like watching him go off and have that game. But to me, it's more realistic to say he is what he does every time. Well, what he does every time is basically catch between 6 and 12 balls for 100 yards. Like that's who he is.
Yeah, those are the games you watch like after you're done with the evaluation.
Yeah. But it was like I remember sitting on Twitter when that game was happening, and just Twitter burning, and just being like, JSN is going to be the next, and I'm like, I can't wait to watch him.
Okay, I fixed it. But
Pete downloaded it.
Sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah. Watched Rose Bowl last year on JSN. Oh, you already talked about this guy. Sorry. Grimley 1314, 16 team PPR, half point tight end premium. Trade Mark Andrews for Garrett Wilson and Evan Ingram.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
No, maybe
close.
not.
I was waiting for that.
No. Okay. 16 team.
Oh, yeah.
Mark Andrews is like a 16 team tight end premium. Even if it's only 0.5, Mark Andrews is not far from a first round pick.
Yeah.
I want more.
Get a better tight end on top of it.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I want more for Mark Andrews, and I'm not even like the biggest Andrews guy, but given the settings of your league, absolutely.
I agree.
You would.
Zach, can you please plug where we can get your 2023 evals? It is difficult to get him to put his evals out.
Currently, you have to fight me for them. They're sitting in front of me. But when I do them,
let's go.
Yeah, when I do them, it's the Dynasty Dummies, which we occasionally record, although we haven't done a show since August. So it's like a semi-annual Dynasty show at this point.
Hootenanny's got to be coming soon.
Huh?
The Hootenanny better be coming soon.
The Hootenanny will be coming soon. We usually roll that out in mid to late January. It's maybe like a week later this year because I'm gonna be in Florida the week we usually roll it out, but it'll be sometime in January, February that we do the Hootenanny. And if you're on Twitter, you can hit me up at Tacit Assassin 13 once I've got my evals done. And if you ask me about a player, I'm very likely to drop my write up of them, so you can peruse that at your leisure. So, but currently it's sitting at my kitchen table.
I agree. Is Hopkins 30 in the same tier as Cup 29? If not, why not? Because Dynasty players value age, Gavin. I'm in the same place as you, but the difference is not age. Age is about value. Both are as likely to be good next year.
Cup has gotten better with his age, and Hopkins had a bad year last year and then got suspended. That is literally the difference.
Yeah, it's hype. The difference is hype.
Yeah.
And what other people will give you for them.
If Hopkins keeps doing what he's doing, Cup comes back next season, I think we'll find them.
They're similar. Yeah. Yep.
Like they won't be same round or anything, but they'll be like 2 rounds apart as opposed to like 10 that they were before.
I don't know. Dynasty has a hard time re-elevating players once they've started dropping them because of age, because they know it's going to work out eventually. It's like Keenan Allen right now. Had 2 top 12 seasons since his ADP started falling, and Dynasty ADP is still like, yeah, but we'll be right eventually.
Just,
you know what
just
I mean?
pivot off of both
why.
of them to Adams. Like whatever.
Diggs.
Yeah, Diggs, same thing. Yep.
So hard to evolve to eval Ohio State wide receivers. 2 first rounders last year, 2 first rounders next year, and a potential first rounder this year. Why am why I'm out on Stroud.
So, okay, I got a question though. So you're out on a quarterback going to the NFL because he threw to NFL wide receivers.
He seemed to do it pretty well. It was against worse competition, I can imagine. But yeah.
But and again, like I don't know if I'm in on Stroud or not. I haven't watched him. But I do agree that it is tough to evaluate Ohio State wide receivers, but it was the same thing when DK Metcalf and AJ Brown were at Ole Miss. Like that's a thing. Justin Jefferson and Chase, and like that's a thing. Like
sometimes I appreciate past Pete. I've got Hopkins ran right next to Keenan Allen, just staring at me like. I made a point at some point when I did these ranks. Yeah, it's not part of my process. I can't mention it. Grant, I have Gabe Davis and Gallup in a 10-team Superflex. Thinking next year, what should I be looking at to get for them in a trade? Too late. You're keeping them, I would guess. Second round picks.
I'd be able to get 2 seconds for Gabe Davis. For Gallup, you're lucky to get a second.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. At this point, I think I'm roster that.
I can see right now, I would not move Gabe Davis for that. During the draft, depending on the way things fall, I could see myself
to go get the second round pick that
Correct,
you want
yes.
or something. Yeah. Second part, I have Herbert, Watson, and Lance for quarterbacks. Waddle, St. Brown, Pickens, DJ Moore for wide receivers. My best running back is AJ Dillon, which is not bad. And it falls off Schultz and Dolchich at tight end. Those are wins.
It's a decent,
that doesn't affect it.
solid team.
Something. Yeah, solid. Brady 3-1 since divorce. Did not expect that. 2-game winning drive. Yeah. The divorce
breaking news:
metrics are underrated.
Brady still Brady.
Alec, 1 QB, currently 4th. Last spot to get in the playoffs. Have JJ, Lamb. I mean, do you care about the playoffs? Your roster's so pretty. AJ Brown, Cooper, Judy, Elijah Moore for wide receivers. Running backs are weaker. Pollard, Gibson, Murray, and CEH. Sorry about that one. Pitts, Dolchich, Higbee. Have my first and second. You're asking what we should do? Yeah, should I go for it? Yeah, I definitely think you should. With these wide receivers, you have relatively little risk in terms of long-term value, just because these wide receivers are so good and young.
Is this this is the Pitts Kelsey, isn't it? This is what this is.
Yeah, I think you should go for it with that team. When your wide receivers are that age and good, there's relatively little risk at throwing value at a win, and this is a great year to try and buy a win. So yeah. Go see if you can get Kelsey or Eckler or Josh Jacobs or the running backs we mentioned earlier. Gavin, 12-team Superflex start 10, half-point PPR. Jacobs and a mid to late second. Get Dalvin Cook and Henry. I don't understand this trade. That's my first. Like you're giving up the running. You're giving up running backs.
You get two. Yeah, but you get two. You get 2 top running backs for 1 top running back. And a second.
I would do that.
2 is more than 1.
It hurts a little bit because you're talking 27, 28 years old versus 24 years old.
Right.
But yeah, like if you don't care about value after this season and you just want to win, I would absolutely go trade Jacobs and a second for Dalvin and Derrick Henry.
If Henry and Jacobs are about the same thing this year, this is a second for Dalvin Cook, and I think that's good. Yeah.
I mean, this is the point. This is points. We want points. That's
yeah, but I don't understand what the other team is doing. That's what I mean. Like, why is he trading points for points and getting?
Because he's getting a
second.
The other guy's getting a younger running back and a second.
That's ugly as shit. Brian, 10-team, 1 QB. He's in a rebuild. Gave Ayuk on the 107 for the 103, 30 for the 103.
I would do that.
I hate Ayuk's value right there.
That's a lot to it's a lot to give up to get 4 spots. I guess it could be later, but
in a 1 QB, I don't know. That's to just in to get what is most likely going to be the wide receiver 1. Yeah, I do that. You're you're never going to feel great starting Ayuk. And again, the 107 and a 1 quarterback, you're talking.
Great starting Ayuk next week. What you talking about?
You're not going to feel safe about it.
Yeah. Top 24 wide receiver. Pretty safe. Robbie. Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's what I mean. People don't like Ayuk, and I don't get it.
I don't mind going up to get the
it's
103. I think it's a little more than I want to pay, but I don't hate it.
Hey.
Maybe that's probably how it should be. You're making a trade. You probably should.
Well,
you
have to give up. You have to give up things people want to get things that you want. So it's fine.
Points per game. Brandon Ayuk is wide receiver 25.
Yeah.
I know. I was just pulling it up. That wasn't meant to be like a snarky response or anything. I just looked it up and I wanted to say the answer.
I wanted it to be snarky.
It can be if you wanted to. It wasn't meant as it, but
which would be a top 25 wide receiver. There you go. I feel pretty confident in starting wide receiver 25. There you go. Especially since 3 of those guys in the top 25 are injured right now, which brings them back up to the top 24. But whatever. Any players you're cutting ties with this year? Oh, I think I know what you mean. Ones that you're finally like, I got this one wrong.
I see. I took it as guys that you're not going to roster anymore. I cut Calvin Johnson. Andrew Luck is done.
You're joking, but I did cut Andrew Luck this year finally. Gronkowski is not on any of my rosters anymore. I cut him.
He might be on one of mine. I can't remember.
But like real players, I don't think I have anyone that I'm just like, no, all right, you know what, forget it. I don't think so. Like honestly, who am I cutting ties with? DeAndre Swift. Like I used to believe in his value, but his value isn't even really there anymore.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Are we still gonna keep letting DJ Moore Charlie Brown us or Lucius? Rather?
No, he is no. Don't he Charlie Brown us. He is what we thought he was.
I was hoping.
Unless you were a metrics guy, and you were like DJ Moore is the greatest thing ever, and I'm like, okay, he's good, he's fine.
You know what? He needs to go to San Francisco.
Cortland Sutton. Is it time to just be like,
it's
not enough runway left, kind of.
I already took the massive loss on Sutton last week.
Yeah, me too.
He's the biggest miss, but man, Russell Wilson is terrible.
What is this? Right? Like it can't be Pete Carroll's system, right?
What run? I mean, maybe they were hiding Russell Wilson.
I know
DJ
what's
Moore
going on, man.
Is the points per game wide receiver 42.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that bad.
It's pretty bad.
Well, but he basically has the ghost of Christmas future Zach Wilson thrown to him. I mean, he either had Baker
thing,
or
right?
or I mean, it's just ugly. But
they're so bad.
Yeah, I think Sutton might be my best, highest ranked offer I can make because mostly you're giving up on players everyone else has given up on.
Right.
Again, to the Calvin Johnson and Andrew Luck point. And again, it's not that Cortland Sutton isn't good and hasn't done good things. It's just the amount of runway left. It's a Robert Woods situation almost. Yeah, I'm not blaming the player even. It's hard to really buy in at his value at this point. It's hard to see him dropping down low enough and then can get higher. So maybe Cortland Sutton is an answer to this question. It's that might be a good exercise for me to run, actually. I like the question. Zach, yes, this is the same 14 teams for Superflex. I traded Pitts, start 8, and
oh yeah, you have a good team then.
Mm-hmm. What is advice for trading in the off season?
Do it.
That's always your advice. Generically, you're trying to buy points because that's when people are less interested in points. That might be one general piece of advice. I think that's an interesting way to approach it. But it's the same thing. You're just looking for ways to go against the grain that makes sense because of what people consistently do, not what players do. What the NFL does are predicting the future. Dynasty players are more predictable. Your league mates are more predictable than the future is, because we like certain things and we like certain things at certain times. We know draft picks are going to go up. We know points value are going to come down, and you kind of play it that way. But again, as always, it depends on your team, what you have, which direction you're taking your team right now. But in general, points are cheaper and they'll get more expensive when the season gets here, if you get them right, at least.
That is such a patient game that I do not have the patience for.
My best advice is go to whatever podcast app you have, James, and go find the Trade Addicts podcast and subscribe to that. And it's not only an entertaining listen, but the hosts are very sharp, and they teach you a lot about kind of the ins and outs of trading and kind of how to get better as a trader. And that's what I would be listening to. So that's my advice is everything Peter said. Yes, your picks from here to your rookie draft are going to gain value. People are going to forget about everybody who scored. They're going to be rookies are going to start getting hyped in January, and they'll be crescendo in all the way to April, and then your rookie draft. But you got to learn how to trade before you can trade. At least I did. I have been terrible.
I didn't. I just kind of jumped in, destroyed a few teams.
I was just saying, your teams, Peter.
That's a fun way to do it.
Gavin, if Lamar leaves, is Andrews still a tight end 2 at worst? I don't think. And again, there's nothing 100%, but I don't think tight ends or wide receivers get this level of volume because of quarterback, because of scheme. I think Andrews is good. Is he quite as good? Not if he has a worse quarterback, but he should still get the level of volume, have that range of outcomes. So it's a who's the quarterback if it's not Lamar kind of a question.
If they weirdly let Lamar walk and go with Huntley seemed to like Mark Andrews. I mean, no matter what they do, that offense is going to center around a run game in Mark Andrews because that's all they have. I mean, until Bateman comes back and he's healthy, and if he does reacclimate well enough. But for now,
I don't think Lamar's going anywhere.
So I can't imagine he is. But
do you remember? No. And this was 2019. Gronk retired. The Patriots went out. They signed Martellus Bennett and Dwayne Allen, and everyone was like, Dwayne Allen is going to be a top 10 tight end this year because Tom Brady uses the tight end. It wasn't Tom Brady using the tight end. It was the fact that Gronkowski was a Hall of Fame tight end, was an incredible player. That to me is the answer to the Andrews thing. Is the reason Andrews gets the targets in Baltimore has not as much to do with Lamar Jackson as it does to do with the fact that Mark Andrews is the best pass catcher on that team. Same thing with Kelsey.
Well, when was the tight end position relevant in Seattle? It's when Jimmy Graham was there for that season. It wasn't what he was, but it's the most relevant the tight end position had been to the same offense and coaching staff.
Relevance has to do with the fact that when was he drafted? 2018, 19?
Yeah.
That year and like 20 years before it, Ozzie Newsome was the general manager of the Ravens, who also happens to be in the Hall of Fame as a tight end. So there you go. And the same year that the Patriots drafted Gronkowski and Hernandez and changed the NFL with their usage of tight ends, they drafted Ed Dixon and not Dante Pettis. What the hell was that guy's name?
No. What are we talking about? I stopped listening.
The Ravens have always liked tight ends because their GM was a tight end.
They typically do draft 2 in any given draft class, to be honest.
I think
first and Andrews, and
They tend to take a couple of shots. There's Hayden Hurst and Mark Andrews, and before that there was Dennis Pitta.
Dennis Pitta.
Oh, okay, there you go.
That's the name I was thinking of. I was saying Pettis, but Pitta, yeah.
Howdy's Heroes, another edition of the hard-hitting fantasy analysis we all appreciate. Thanks, gentlemen. Best of luck. Appreciate it. Gavin, start 10, half-point PPR. Give Kamara and Jay Mason. Get Pittman. Yes. Get Pittman. Not a needle mover, I know, but plenty it out of Kamara for a younger wide receiver.
I would do that.
Yeah, it's an easy win. Should I trade Rashad White and get Cup and Cup to get Brees?
Yes.
But also yes.
Watch Wednesday on Netflix. Best show they've ever done. Really?
Seriously,
okay. Good to know.
I remember hearing that Tim Burton was doing something with the Addams Family and lost my shit about it. And then I found out what the plot was, and I'm like, that's the dumbest shit I ever heard. And then at first, I heard a lot of people hated it. And now everyone loves it. I guess I have to watch it now.
You should watch it.
I thought pretty good. But
I watched it the last 4 nights with my wife. It's well done.
Well, here's the thing.
I don't know anything about it.
I've seen Jenny Ortega is in a bunch of things my daughter has watched. So she's okay. Luis Guzman is just one of the greatest men ever. And Catherine Zeta-Jones was one of my first hardcore celebrity crushes. So I don't know if I could watch that with Trish.
So it's a Wednesday Addams. Is it a murder detective story?
A psychic
apparently?
Murder detective.
Yeah.
Psychic.
Which sounds terrible. The ending was but it was really well done. And Jenna Ortega was fantastic. Thing.
I'm gonna go watch it right now.
Thing.
That was great.
Stole the show, and once you watch it, you should go back and watch how the guy I
saw it.
Oh my goodness, it was amazing. That was really good. So yes, Gavin.
Yeah, I saw on TikTok a random of him climbing walls while doing the
he was really really.
Oh, and
really
I'm jumping
good,
ahead.
so.
Yes, Gavin points out that Christina Ricci was in the show. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, she was the best one.
And having to explain to an entire generation that it's funny because she used to be Wednesday Addams.
Right. She is, in my mind.
She is, right? Those movies kept the Addams Family relevant.
That is the Addams Family
generation.
Yeah. How do you feel about Connor for a third or fourth?
If you are a contender,
1 point.
Fine.
Yeah.
If you're
feel great about that.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on which side of this you're on and what your team looks like. If you're contending and you can get Connor for a third or fourth, whatever. Yeah. If you are non-contender and you can move him for that, also fine.
Yeah.
So it's if you'd been a little quicker, that would have been the screen cap for the show. But
sorry. Gonna try and move us along here a little bit, guys. Sorry. Who will go earlier in startups next year, Cup or Adams?
Adams.
P to the R. So Zach has done a remake of Jay-Z's Reminder and turned it into Rebuilder yet?
No, but I did do New York.
Right.
It was very good.
Thomas H. I've moved Kamara, Juju, Jacoby Myers, Gallup, and Bobby Trees for 323 firsts and a second.
That is an absolute win.
That is amazing.
But said in the
that was along the season. That wasn't one move.
Yeah.
But that's still
great
absolute. Yeah, I mean,
absolute.
it's like the Hulk. I see that as an absolute win.
Gavin, any deep stashes you guys like? I don't really.
No.
Tight ends and running backs are most of my deep stashes right now, but I still have a soft spot for David Bell. Still have a soft spot for Trey McBride because you never know, and they're not worth anything now. But mostly it's running back and tight ends. Anyone got deep stashes they like?
Not really.
I would have to. Gavin, I would have to think on that.
Justin Ross.
Not tight end premium. Doesn't matter. If you're talking about deep stashes, is anyone that could get relevant.
Wide receiver 71, Calvin Ridley.
That's actually pretty. Yeah, that's a good one. 12-team Superflex PPR: Lamb or Debo and Montgomery?
Lamb.
Yeah, it's Lamb. Rank 'em: Palmer, Tony, Bateman. Bateman, Palmer, Tony.
Yep.
Don't at me. Actually, at me all you want at that.
It's probably the right answer. I don't know, man. Like, it depends what.
Palmer's been really good.
Like Palmer and Bateman
are
are
much at wide receiver. Palmer should be first.
Yeah,
but
that's fair. Palmer, Bateman with an equal sign.
I'm fine with that.
So now here's a question, Ross. If Lamar Jackson does move on, is that a positive for Bateman?
Yes.
So, because I think you get more
if they bring in just someone who's
I think you get more volume potentially.
Yeah, like you'd have to change the offense as well.
Peter's being frustrated because Lamar Jackson has been a good thrower, but they haven't let him throw enough. Peter.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think Lamar's the problem there.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who the problem is. It matters that there's a problem. It's the Ken Walker can catch passes.
Jason, 12-team Superflex has Mahomes, Lawrence, and Watson. Pretty good lineup in Dynasty anyway. What do you think Watson will be viable rest of season? He's a viable starter.
Maybe.
I want to deal Lawrence. No, I would wait till this off season. I would deal Watson. That's what I would do. But anyone?
No, I think you're right. But if he's trying to compete this year, and I would not feel comfortable as a contender trading Lawrence and having to start Watson off a 2-year hiatus with a new team now.
And plus,
Watson is young, and also Lawrence is young and also good, guys. I know the team is suck, but he seems pretty good. T-Mac equals McLaurin. Thank you, Gavin. Someone figured it out. Was not me, obviously. Trevor, 12-team 1QB start 8. PPR trade Walker, Ken, for DK, a third, a 24 set. Yes. I want DK in the third and the 103. And my only running backs are JK and Rashad White.
I don't care about running backs right now if you're not competing. So go get DK in the 103.
In fact, if you're not competing, trade Rashad White.
I thought T-Mac was go up. I thought T-Mac was Tracy McGrady. I was trying to figure out why he was still being rostered. I was like, he had a nice J.
I'm holding on to Andrew Luck. Someone can still hold on to Tracy McGrady.
Bex, would you trade Malik Willis, who seems to be getting some interest in the trade market today, or this week or now, plus 224 first
easily
for Dak or Kyler? Yeah, easily. With bells on, skipping. I would do it skipping or juggling, whichever.
For Kyler, but would settle for Dak.
Yeah, settle for Dak. Andre, I would love to play in a league with you guys. New to this last year and looking for another. I mean, maybe. We're gonna, like I say, I want to add a league, but it really
I need one more. One more league.
You want to be in trade?
Always one more.
What?
I would recommend once again the safe leagues that for anyone that's new, that Scott Fish manages. He's a commissioner. He's an awesome commissioner as well as other things. So you're getting a good commissioner, good setup, and he runs good leagues. And they're fairly affordable even for me. So they're good leagues to get in if you really want to start digging into some deeper leagues.
Yeah, the Grind Listener League. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. All 12
You're
of
going to commish?
Yes.
Did you see him?
You looked around at your options and you were like, yeah. Cade's cards. If I get the 23-second back on top of the 101, would you do it?
Was I not here for this? Because I don't remember this
I don't remember this one. Cade's cards. Zach, do you remember this trade? Sorry, Cade. I don't remember the original trade and I can't find it.
107 and the 2 late firsts, that the 1 QB? No, because he's trading. They're trading for the 101. They're trading a 101 away. I don't think I remember talking about trading the 101 away.
It doesn't give me like a seer. Though.
Oh, if I get to tell, I would do it. I think they're answering someone else's question.
Oh, okay. Zach
We are
really does
far
care.
behind.
I know.
I
Do you have
do.
favorite teams in the NFL? I mean, I do, but not really for our purposes. Like, I'm not really a team fan. I'm a player fan when it comes down to it. He loves the Patriots, so
yeah, I'm a Pats fan, but like again, it's like you said, like it's not if the Patriots lose, it doesn't affect my day. If they win, it doesn't. Like it's fun, but whatever.
I was a Seahawks fan for a long time, and it did just turn into me caring way more about my fantasy teams than the NFL teams. And then the Seahawks started to do things I didn't like, so I just honestly stopped paying attention. It's still easy to. Some people find it weird when you say you don't have a team, so I still find myself talking like I'm a Seahawks fan, but I legitimately don't care.
Well, and I think for me, like people expect you as a like you're a Patriots fan. I'm like, dude, I was born in Maine. I watched the Patriots under Rod Rust go 1-15. Like I'm born here, but I'm not like a new Patriots fan. Yeah, and again, like I said, it doesn't.
Look,
really...
he was born in the darkness. He didn't see the light until he was already a man.
That's right, Ross.
How much faith in Ramondre? Pay a late 23 first plus in Superflex for him on a contender? Yes, because you want the points. I don't think he'll be a top 12 running back next season because it's the Patriots.
He also could be because it's the Patriots.
Should be top 24 at least. That's the thing. Yeah. I think he's worth that though.
Yeah.
Carl's between the mess at quarterbacks plus getting robbed of touchdowns, where is Debo's value right now? Somewhat muted, apparently.
Probably lower
Russ
than it
and
should
Zach
be.
Both liking him. He
Debo
rates as a value when I compare rankings to ADP. So it's his value is actually low right now, but I actually think he's a hold because I think
you need to wait its mind.
Yeah. Cut to Russ taking Caleb Williams next year.
No, probably.
Kevin, he's got your number, man. What do you think of this trade I made 3 weeks ago? 12-team PPR 1 QB. Gave up the 101, who I got from some guy, Clyde, after his crazy start. Wow, good trade. And Daniel Jones for Hurts, Higgins, and Greg DeLuch. The 101 for Daniel Jones.
1
Hurts,
QB.
Higgins,
okay. Hold on.
Bijan Robinson for Hurts, Higgins, Greg DeLuch.
It's not bad.
It's okay.
Yeah,
it's given that it's one quarterback, but it's good.
Kevin put it this way: Jonathan Taylor for Daniel Jones, Hurts, and Higgins, and Greg DeLuch. It's fine. But where it's 1 QB, I'm wondering why. No, Hurts is different. Yeah, it's fine. It's good. It's all right.
Yeah, like Hurts is one of the quarterbacks you should pay for, and one quarterback, but it's still one quarterback.
Yeah. And Higgins is good.
I don't know if I want to pay. I don't know if I want to pay Bijan for him.
Yeah, it's a little much, but I'm not gonna. It's a little much, but I try and be positive. Gavin Ferguson, I'd bet a bag of Skittles that Olave finishes higher than Garrett Wilson on their second year at Zach. We got a Skittles bet on the board. All right.
I mean, if you had gone gelato, Gavin, we would have a showdown. Do I get a caveat that Zach Wilson is not playing?
That was in your descriptor of,
because that's the caveat. Like, I know, Peter, you kind of gone back and forth with Jacob Rickroad about whether or not quarterback play and receiver play
definitely matters to touchdowns.
And I would say, and it was funny because you guys were both on opposite sides of the spectrum. I feel like I brought together. I brokered a treaty.
We're on opposite sides of the spectrum, but it's a circle. That's the thing.
And you guys,
I just feel like the quarterback, especially at the time we started that argument, it was heavily, he's got Aaron Rodgers, he should be moved up in ranks. And that was always my reaction. It's like, it doesn't matter that much. But yeah. You brought us together. You made it all possible. Gavin Grant, I was offered a 24 first for Trey Sermon and Montgomery. Sorry, that one might kill me right before the deadline. I'm competing and I didn't take it. Will I regret this?
During the season, no. At once the season ends, yes.
Yeah.
Montgomery has a good schedule. And again, if Khalil Herbert does not come back, Montgomery will score a decent amount of points. But the second the season ends, you will regret it. You're
never going to get offered a first.
If you win, it's worth it.
Ever again. Yeah. Eyes football part.
It's Dave. Russ, one of my many like ridiculous in my camera roll is a video of Dave drinking hot sauce.
Sure.
I don't know. It's how it is.
Why not?
My camera roll is ludicrous. It's great.
Non-superflex. Give Lamar, got Justin Fields, a 24 second and 24 third. Next week, traded Fields and Keenan Allen back to the contender for Lamar and a 25 second. I like it. I like it a lot. 25 is not much, but it's fine. Why not? That was just fun. That's like Russ. He's like, he doesn't even care. He could end up in the exact same place, but he had fun making trades. That's fine.
Peter gets me.
Andrew A. I don't actually, because you won't share your secrets. Would you trade Pitts while value high, since London and him are the same player with no quarterback?
No, so
I would wait till the value is high. Right now, I think it's kind of muted.
Yeah.
I've actually traded for him, which is the first time. I drafted him in one league because it was a single rookie pick, mid to late. I was like, sure. But right now, I think his value is as low as it's been since that rookie draft.
Yeah, and it depends on your league settings. It depends on the temperature of your league on Pitts. So it depends on what I mean, and that feels like a little bit of a fence-sitting answer, but that's the real answer. Is it depends on what you can get for him. I'm not trading him away just because he's on the same team as London. Like, two good players can coexist, and they will have a quarterback next year. They will.
Like, Pitts is just
somebody.
I think of him like a draft pick because he's injured, because he has innate value, because everyone's been so high on him. Like, and then we go back to what type of value. Next season, if I need points, if I'm trying to buy points, I can go get Kelsey and something for Pitts. I can break him apart that way. And right now, he's just a thing that not himself, but rostering Pitts is just value you can sit on the shelf and have there to use when you need it for whatever you need. But yeah, the two players on the same team thing doesn't affect me. It doesn't rate with me too much. What would you add to McLaurin or Ayuk to get up to Devontae or Hopkins on a contender? You shouldn't. You shouldn't. Dynasty players value age. Devontae, maybe. I would go get Hopkins, and I wouldn't expect to add. I wouldn't expect to
add to McLaurin and Ayuk to get Devontae.
Yes.
A lot.
You don't. Not for Hopkins. That's what I said.
Not for Hopkins, no. Like, Ayuk for Hopkins can probably. But honestly, if I have to throw a late second, I'll do it.
And I would rather trade Ayuk than McLaurin. If I'm a contender, like McLaurin, I think is going to score you more points through the end of the season than Ayuk. If I can
Ayuk is shiny.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. But I don't want shiny right now. I want.
That's what I mean. Is you're more likely to get that trade anyway. So.
Yep. I'd rather be shiny.
What have I started? Andrew A. Lozeless, I cut LaDainian Tomlinson. Finally. Nice.
Bad move, bro. Bad move.
It could happen. We got Angel with us.
You never know. Should I try offering Tyler Hunt? I gotta go watch that movie now, you bastard. Like, I want to see that song again now. Should I try offering Tyler Huntley? Yes. David Montgomery? Yes. To the Lamar Jackson owner for Calvin Ridley? I think you could get away with one of them, but sure. I mean, package them if you got to. Yeah, definitely. But I think that's a really sharp.
Trading for Calvin Ridley is always the right answer.
Well, you were gone, Russ. But that's like I said that. He's a player that I am actively looking to acquire at the end of this season before that hype builds again, because he's gonna be in Jacksonville. And he's going to be.
I honestly forgot that Calvin Ridley is who T. Higgins, who used to be T. Higgins, the guy the rest will give me a headache on because I like him. Chill, but that's fair. And I honestly, Yeah, I was higher on DJ Moore in that draft class, and that was wrong, but it worked out because of context. But it's not like we predicted suspension and predicted an injury. Like Kevin Ridley was better and did better. Just not overall. Gavin Grant, thoughts on Godwin, Terry, Deontay, and Hollywood in Dynasty? Pro those guys. Would you rank? How would I rank them? Or how would we rank them? See any value difference? Terry's got almost no value right now.
Godwin, Hollywood, Terry, Deontay.
Yep.
And Terry is just never going to go up in value again because we wanted him to be more than he was, and he never made it. And faith in the Commanders is not the right thing to do. And Deontay will, if something happens to that offense, Deontay has a chance of going back up in value. But I think people are just going to stay away from the Steelers for a while.
I have Terry above Deontay, but the rest was the same. Godwin, Hollywood, Deontay, Terry. And this is why rankings are so limited. Like, that doesn't mean I'll roster one more than the other. It depends on what the people in my league think. But I think they're all good players who have top 24. Apart from Godwin, that's why he's at the top. He's got a top 25, 12 range of outcomes. So. Dennis Pitter. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, thank you. Was that
excellent?
So?
Yeah, people.
You're missing a few X's.
That's true. Actually, he did. What a weird year. I learned so much about tight ends here. Gracias.
Wasted.
Yeah, we tried that.
There's a flow chart for that.
That's all you need to know.
Two things. Other people value Kyle Pitts, and I value Mark Andrews. That's what.
And also, Travis Kelce is going to score points.
Karen Ferguson. Wednesday has. Oh, I'm way behind.
No, that was I brought it up when he first typed it.
I'm way behind. I sent an offer trading away DK Metcalf and Mac Jones and a 24 second for a late 23 first and 24 first. Thoughts?
You didn't ask for enough.
Yeah, I think you gave up too much to get not quite enough back.
I think DK is worth 2 firsts, and really they have to be one of those firsts has to be pretty good first.
If we're talking late, yes, I think DK is probably worth that early to mid first.
And then you've got Mac Jones and a super flex. I mean, it's your roster. You're happy. You're happy. I would have expected a little bit more back.
Yeah.
And my roster is top heavy and no depth. That's cool, man. That's what all the cool.
All of my teams are like that. I hate depth.
Yeah, I genuinely don't strive for depth.
Well, but so top heavy and no depth is kind of the way to either ensure that you're here or here. Because if you have injuries, you're here, and if you don't, you're the bull of the woods. So like that's not a bad place to be.
Yeah, I'm terrible at making lineup decisions, so I make sure I don't have to.
I'm usually, traditionally, perennially very good. I'm like above 90% of my potential points over the last 5 years I've started. This year, for whatever reason, I'm at like hovering at 80. Like, it's been bad.
Yeah.
And I've been helping my father-in-law start his lineup too. And he's like, I have more points on my bench this week. Again. And I'm like, yeah, you and me both, bub.
Clearly, someone's not learning a lesson.
No.
Shout out all the rebuilding managers who acquired Brock Purdy from waivers today and flipped him for a third. Solid move.
So many.
Yep.
Like almost full fabs because people saved it into the end and they're like, well, might as well just use it now.
Yeah. Don't yards per carry me, bro. Facts.
Don't yards per carry me, bro.
If you teared down Lamar to Lance, would you need what would you need on top? What
2 firsts.
you need on top of
firsts,
Lance?
I don't think anyone does that.
That's a significant teardrop. Like, I won the full value of Lamar almost. But yeah. Is Zach Wilson that much better than Andy Dalton? He's
that much worse. Andy Dalton has actually been a starter in this league for multiple years. Zach Wilson has been a starter in this league.
We're too used to throwing
what's really
shade
funny,
at Eli Manning's and Andy Dalton's. It's like that was the pretty good
definition of mediocre. That was the problem. He was too okay.
Yeah,
he's not bad. He's just not good.
Yeah.
Too okay.
Zach Wilson is bad.
It's like, yeah. What?
I think that's in response to
was-
you having a video of him drinking hot sauce.
I do.
I was spoiled by Jameis. That's sad, but agree. Deadpool, 12-team, 1 QB, start 8. Would you trade the 101, the 110, the 112 for Hurts and Pitts?
One quarterback. No.
One quarterback? No.
101, 110, 110.
Bijan Robinson plus
Nah.
for Pitts. And no, that's too much.
No, probably not.
Have a good night, guys. You'll teach me a lot. Thanks, Lakers fan. I hope we also just entertain you at some point, because we are not teachers. But thank you. Open 24 hours. Rookie tight ends hitting this year. A little bit. How much staying value do you think Deluche, Otten? Oh, if you're including Otten, yeah, you're way off. Chig. There are two. It's Deluche and Isaiah Lakely's been interesting. I think Otten's kind of it's an okay profile, and I think that's kind of a one-game thing people are reacting to too strongly. Bellinger, like, again, I don't think he has the upside, but he might be a consistent streamer guy. McBride has been disappointing, but it's still early for a tight end cycle. It has been a good rookie class, though. That's what a good rookie class of tight ends look like. How much staying power? Again, I think Deluche is making a really strong case to become at least one of those streamable, they're decent top 12 kind of players in value, if not in points sometimes. Otten and the rest, I think I'm below average on by the look of it, apart from McBride. I think if Likely isn't on your list, then he's probably the undervalued guy that I would be more interested in. And again, Mark Andrews is great. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't see the path, but I think he was pretty good in college, and he had a few games here where the opportunity was available, and he took advantage of it. And I want to remember that.
Don't jump though out on rookie tight ends, because that's not a thing. Like, rookie tight ends don't hit generally.
Mostly in the second year.
I know Freiermuth is the second coming of whoever you want to throw out there, but like,
I'm done with it. I'm done telling you. You can just remind me of it after you already know. Okay, like,
I know he's good. I know he's good, but I like McBride. McBride is the guy out of that group that I still want, and I agree with you on Likely. Likely's been good, but
I think Dolchich is the one who should have value right now. And the others I will probably trade at the market value. McBride is not valued, so I'm interested. And Likely's kind of, I think people might have forgotten. Joe! Happy about that. Start 10, I have Mahomes, Dak, AJ Brown, DK, no one else. Oh, that's for that trade that he mentioned. That was for the hot sauce video. Fair enough. All right. It is 20 past midnight, guys. No one's gone to bed yet.
I'm thinking about it.
I really respect you all not asking for money and answering questions all in the chat.
Hey,
I'd ask for money if I thought
you being here.
You want to give me money? I'll take money.
Hey, Pete.
But no, you're fine, man.
But like, ask for our PayPals, because we don't get whatever you get here.
Look over there.